Spring has long since sprung. In fact, it's almost done. Joe Madden and the Rays are ready for another run at the postseason. In Miami, it's Ozie time, and a healthy Josh Johnson is itching to open a new ballpark. In Port Charlotte today, we got Marlins and Rays. Hey, we're a week away. Yeah, opening day is coming up quickly. Some Grapefruit League action to whet your appetites in Port Charlotte, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, the wild card champions of the American League, and the Miami Marlins and Rays get together here on a cloudy Sunday. Rich Waltz from Marlins TV, Brian Anderson from Rays TV. It's our annual visit here to Port Charlotte. It's easy to say that for both of these teams, the fortunes lie with their starting rotations. You're the pitcher of the group. Let's go right to pitching. We'll see Wade Davis and Josh Johnson in this one. They're at the opposite ends of each rotation.
Yeah, Wade Davis, it's all about opportunity. This is a big start for Wade. He's locked in a battle to win a spot in this Rays starting rotation, and this may be his last opportunity to go out and give Joe Madden something to think about. He is coming off his best start of the spring, went 5 shutout innings in the last one 5 days ago against these Marlins. A big one for Wade today. Conversely, on the flip side, you have Josh Johnson. And with Josh Johnson, it is all about health. When he's right, he's one of the most dominant starting pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, limited to just 9 starts last year because of a shoulder issue. But as of right now, he's back, he's healthy. And if the Marlins are looking to make some noise this year in the National League, he must be a big reason why.
Yeah, 2 very talented rotations. The Marlins have got their A-team on the road. The Rays have got the A-team out there. So this should be a fun afternoon of baseball. In Port Charlotte, Marlins and Rays.
Charlotte Sports Park, the Rays and the Marlins playing this exhibition game on the final Sunday of March as we get ready for baseball, joined by Rays third baseman Evan Longoria. Longer, you were down yesterday in Lee County playing against the Twins. You played 2 in a row, and here you are back in the lineup against Josh Johnson. Why is it important for you to play today?
You know, missing that first week was a big deal for me. You know, I didn't want to be out. Obviously, you want to start off spring training racking up those at-bats. And so now I'm just playing a little bit of catch-up mode and trying to get myself ready for the season. So probably play, at least 1 or 2 more in a row after this. And, like I said, try and stack up those at-bats.
Evan, thanks.
All right.
Time now to go across the field to Frankfort.
All right, thanks, Todd. With Jose Reyes, Hanley Ramirez has called you his cup of coffee this spring. And you're smiling right there. What is it about your attitude that's kind of infectious to the other guys?
You know, one thing that I'm going to bring, to this team is a lot of energy. You know, I'm the guy who's going to enjoy the game the most that I can, but at the same time, be serious on the field. But like I said, I'm going to bring the same attitude every day, and I want the guy to have the same energy just like me.
You're doing well this spring, seeing the ball, hitting the ball, despite the fact you don't have your hair anymore. Are you used to that?
I get used to it now, For in the beginning, it was a little weird, but, now, I feel comfortable. And like I said, this is the last week of spring training, I just try to put my timing together to get ready for the season.
Thanks for the time, Jose.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back upstairs to Rich and B.A.
Thank you, Frank. New uniforms, new shortstop, new ballpark, a lot of new for the Miami Marlins this year. As you see the Rays taking the field. And here's the Marlins lineup. I told you the A-team is here, minus a couple of corner outfielders who are nursing some injuries. Jose Reyes leads it off at short. The averages to the right are last year's numbers. Emilio Bonifacio coming off a career year. Certainly Hanley Ramirez has looked like a totally different player from last year with a healthy shoulder. Gabby Sanchez, an all-star last year in the cleanup spot. John Buck, former teammate of yours.
Yes.
In the 5 spot. Omar Infante, a Gold Glove finalist last year. Aaron Rowan trying to make this team in the outfield. Brian Peterson is in right. And it's, for Marlin fans, warms the heart to see Josh Johnson in the lineup, healthy, and having a good spring. You talked about the importance of this start for Wade Davis.
Yes, and Wade Davis will be making his 5th appearance of the spring. You see his numbers from last year, 29 starts. That's 2 straight years for Wade Davis, 29 starts, 11-10 ERA of 4.5. But this is a very big start for Wade Davis because you know that he's locked in that battle to try to earn a spot in this Rays starting rotation, and that decision is coming soon. So this may be the last opportunity for Wade to go out there, put together 5-6 good solid innings, and give Joe Madden something to chew on.
It may be the toughest rotation in baseball to make. It's that deep.
Absolutely. And you take a look at the Rays defense as it goes in the outfield, left to right. Matt Joyce, Elliott Johnson, and Ben Zobrist. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Sean Rodriguez, Jeff Keppinger, Carlos Pena. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
B.A., good to see that your eyesight is in midseason form there on the defense.
Because I don't see it on the scoreboard.
So we're ready to go. A good crowd here expected on a Sunday where neither team took batting practice on the field. Everybody was in the cage. There were some morning showers, and we might get some rain. Hopefully not the delay that the Marlins had and Rays had early in the season. And as you take a look at Jose Reyes, he'll stand in. Reyes, of course, a terrific run with the New York Mets. 9 years with the Mets, a 4-time All-Star, including the last 2 seasons. And he leads it off against the right-hander, the 26-year-old Wade Davis. That would be strike 1. Quentin Walcott is calling balls and strikes. We got Tim Cheetah, Manny Gonzalez, and Chad Whitson out on the bases. Reyes goes after a high fastball and fouls it back. Reyes had an outstanding year last year, a career high in on-base percentage at .384. That led all of the National League in terms of leadoff hitters. Davis with an off-speed pitch misses away.
Well, you could see the first 2 pitches of this ball game. You had Carlos Pena, Evan Longoria on the corners brought in because of the bunting ability of Jose Reyes and those wheels.
Reyes slices that one foul. It certainly is a dynamic top of the order. I told you Reyes led the National League for leadoff hitters and on-base percentage. The guy that finished second is the Marlins' number 2 hitter, and that's Emilio Bonifacio, who was in that leadoff spot for the Marlins last year.
Potentially sets up very well for Ozie Gan to have those speedsters up at the top of the lineup, and then the big thumpers coming in behind him.
Yeah, Hanley Ramirez in the 3 spot. You expect Mike Stanton hitting cleanup. You got Logan Morrison and Gabby Sanchez right behind them. 1-2 pitch to Reyes, and it's out. One of the catching Molina brothers behind home plate, Jose Molina. 2-2. Reyes pulls it to first. Pena, Gold Glover over there. And a year in which he's come back home, back to the place where he's had the most success in a well-traveled Major League career.
Yeah, nice play here by Carlos, making sure that he does not let that ball bounce one more time, is able to glove it and get the easy out. And you're right, Rich. I mean, with Carlos Pena coming back, he's comfortable here. He fits into the clubhouse very well. This is one of those spots that I think the Rays hope that he can come back, be comfortable, be a little bit more productive with the bat as far as the average goes, because you know the kind of power potential that he brings.
Here's Bonifacio now. And a fastball misses up. Bonifacio is 27. Actually, he'll turn 27 in mid-April. But a terrific year last year. And it all turned on a couple of conversations he had with Jack McKeon. when McKeon took over as manager in June. It was a road trip on the West Coast, in Oakland in particular, where McKeon told Bonifacio, I want you to run when I tell you to run, and if you get caught, it's on me. Slaps that one fair down the third baseline, and boy, he can run. Bonifacio headed for second, takes a look. Joyce having trouble in the corner, and Bonifacio has a triple.
Now, you talk about that top part of the Miami Marlins lineup, and right here, the ball away, the ability to hit the ball all over the field. And Bonifacio there shoots that ball down the left field line. You talked about his wheels. He hustles right into third. Less than 2 outs. I mean, just an outstanding job, and that's what we kind of talked about with Jose Reyes. With you bringing the corner infielders in, you open up the infield the other way. And these guys, they're not willing to take that ball away, slap it the other way, and it pays off with a 3-bagger.
And now Hanley Ramirez stands in. The infield comes in. The Rays are trying to figure out if they want that right-handed shift against Hanley, and the infield does shift over. You see Jeff Keppinger was just in your shot. Keppinger is the second baseman. Hanley is a guy that does drive the ball to right center field. You see his numbers from an injury-filled season last year. Had back issues, shoulder issues, and the shoulder is what took him out of the lineup for good and prompted off-season surgery.
And that was a good pitch there by Wade Davis. You know that Hanley Ramirez wants to get extended, wants to drive the ball, so you crowd him with the fastball, the swing a little bit long, and he's able to sneak it by him.
That swing right there, Brian, is a great indication that the shoulder is healthy.
Yes, it is.
You know, when he follows through, because that, even in his healthy years where he was productive, a big follow-through like that would tweak that shoulder. The 1-1. Hanley fouls it off.
You don't take a healthy cut like that. It proves the shoulders feels good, the back, the legs, everything.
So the shift on. Joe Madden, of course, one of the great innovators in this game. Not afraid to put a right-handed shift on like most teams do for a Ryan Howard or a Prince Fielder, a big left-handed bat.
Yeah, very rarely do you see that with the righties, but you're right, Joe Madden, and the key phrase, not afraid.
Let's see what the 1-2 brings from Wade Davis. Fastball, he threw it by him. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Davis trying to make a statement, and he did right there.
Well, he worked up in the zone, got the ball above the bat of Hanley Ramirez. You see right there, just overpowered him. And that right there is big, you know, for Wade Davis, because there were times last year where he would go out, start a game, and just kind of float along. Fastball, upper 80s, 90, 91. Want to see a quick start from him. He got the big strikeout with the heater.
So he's got 2 outs. Bonifacio still at third. And Gabby Sanchez, who's manning the cleanup spot, stands in. Gabby has been so steady since putting on a Major League uniform. 19 home runs in 2010, 19 home runs last year. He drove in 78. And, of course, last year, an all-star season for him. Molina knocks it down. Molina certainly comes with the great defensive pedigree. That comes with the birth certificate, which has Molina on it. The question is, can he catch more than 90 to 100 games? And that may be a position still in flux with the Rays.
I think that's definitely one of the question marks here coming down towards the end of camp. Or what are they going to do behind Jose? And like you said, how many is he going to be available for?
Pretty good pitch right at the letters, and it froze Gabby. The count's 1-2. Sanchez now 28. Davis trying to pitch out of this runner at third, less than 2 out situation. He struck out Hanley Ramirez. He's got Gabby Sanchez 1-2. And again, Molina smothers it. It's a fun matchup as well because John Buck spent 1 season in Toronto, and when Buck was in Toronto, Molina and he didn't quite split time. Buck got most of the playing time, but Molina really schooled Buck and gave him a lot of feedback, input, and Buck said that's a real turning point in his career. That ball's in. There's John Buck. He's on deck. He said just the receiving, game calling, blocking, a lot of the finished skills that the Molinas possess. Buck was able to pick up some stuff from that.
Oh, and if you watch Jose Molina, even the way that he sets up on 2-strike pitches, really gets his pitchers some extra strikes that may be borderline.
Davis went soft and softer once he got ahead of Sanchez. And so it is Buck who comes up with runners at the corners.
Now, that was a nice at-bat by Gabby Sanchez, laying off some off-speed pitches. He started him off slow, was able to rush that fastball by him, get ahead, and then trying to get him to bite after breaking balls out of the zone, and Sanchez was able to hold up and earn a walk.
So now Buck, and everybody in Miami is excited about the new ballpark. Maybe none more than John Buck, because Buck experiencing catching in the South Florida heat last year. And this year he'll be in air-conditioned comfort. It's a pop-up to right. Over for it is Zobrist. That thing carries a lot further than I thought, and Zobrist ends up just shy of the track to make the catch. So Wade Davis pitches out of trouble. Josh Johnson takes center stage next. In Port Charlotte, Marlins and Rays. And here's the Rays lineup for this ball game with last year's averages on the right. Ben Zobrist, the versatile one, in right. Matt Joyce is in left field. Evan Longoria hits in the 3 spot, and Carlos Pena back with the ball club. Jeff Keppinger has some versatility on the infield. Luke Scott, newly acquired. Scott actually the designated hitter in this ball game. Molina's behind the plate. Elliot Johnson's in center, and Sean Rodriguez is out at short. It's optional for National League or American League teams to use the DH. Josh Johnson is in the 9 spot, and of course the Rays are using the DH.
Well, Josh Johnson making his 5th start of the spring. You see the numbers last year, abbreviated, obviously just 9 starts. Missed a significant portion of the year with a shoulder issue.
And Zobrist lines the first pitch he sees into right field. So Ben Zobrist is aboard. Marlins defensively.
Let's take a look. Left to right in the outfield, Aaron Rowan, Emilio Bonifacio, and Brian Peterson. Across the infield, third to first, Hanley Ramirez, Jose Reyes, Omar Infante, and Gabby Sanchez. And John Buck will be behind the plate.
Matt Joyce now stands in. Joyce last year, a breakout year, an all-star season. And JJ catches the corner. It's 0-1. Last year, his first full season in the major leagues, and boy, did he make it count.
Got off to a quick start, made the all-star team.
JJ to the plate, and it's fouled off. And with the rotation that the Rays have, some say the best in baseball, with the defense that the Rays had, last year they were the best in baseball. if they can muster any kind of offense, you would think they'll be right back in that 90-win window and right back in playoff contention. And JJ almost picked Zobrist off at first base.
Well, here it is. Ben Zobrist going. Boy, oh boy, that was really close. You could have almost rung him there.
You have the most veteran of umpires at first base, Tim Cheetah. Josh Johnson snaps a sharp slider off, and he strikes out Matt Joyce.
Well, that's what makes Josh Johnson so devastating, is that slider to righties and lefties. You see that ball just bottom out, disappear down and in. He's got plus stuff. I mean, just can absolutely, you know, you look at the 9 starts that he had last year. The batting average against him in those 9 starts, you know, small, you know, 1/3 of a season, but a 165 average, had an ERA way down there below 2.
Here's Longoria now. His bat's starting to come alive. Well, Josh Johnson last year, when he, as you pointed out, after his 9 starts, his ERA was the lowest in the National League. And in 2010, that ERA led the National League because he had enough qualifying starts, even though that season was cut short by injury. Runner goes. Buck's throw is on the money. Infante holding on, and he's out. But more importantly, the Marlins are hopeful that Infante is okay out there. He took a pretty good hit on a nice swipe tag.
Yeah, bang, bang, the ball getting there right as Ben Zobrist is sliding in. Good throw from John Buck. Boy, look at that.
Yeah, Infante got his foot caught.
Yes, he did. Flipped back a little bit. So many times you see in those situations an ankle. And he gets up, looks like he's okay. And that's a good sign right there for John Buck, because right now we've got 2 teams here that were the worst last year as far as caught stealing, being able to throw out base runners. So right there, the Rays try it, Buck nails it.
Well, the Rays now have a Molina, which is going to help that case. Buck has really worked hard on that in spring training, but both catchers will tell you they need the help of the guys on the mound. And JJ misses on all 4 to Evan Longoria. Ozie Gan has the 18 here. The Marlins will head up to Lakeland after the ball game and take on the Tigers tomorrow, and then head back to Jupiter. And talking to Ozie, and we will talk with him a little bit later in the telecast. We'll have both Joe Madden and Ozie Gan on. I think managers, position players, everybody but maybe a few starting pitchers are ready for spring training to end, ready to get the regular season underway.
Well, this is the time. You get down towards the end of March, and Josh Johnson is certainly working on that pickoff move today. Another toss over there with Evan Longoria. But yeah, this is where you talk about the dog days of August during a regular season. This is where you get to the point of spring training where, as a pitcher, you feel like you've been spread out far enough. You've got your innings in. Hitters feel pretty good at the plate, and you want to get it started.
Pena takes a strike. It was not a great season last year for Carlos Pena. He went to Chicago. Home run wise, kind of what you would expect, 28 homers. He drove in 80, 161 strikeouts. He's a guy, as Raves fans know, that is going to hit 220, 230, but he'll pop 30-plus homers and drive in 100 runs, and he will take his walk, so his on-base percentage kind of nullifies the low average.
Well, and that's why earlier in camp, Joe Madden was tinkering with the idea, put him up in the 2-hole, and try to do some different things with this lineup to try to get creative to be able to score runs. You talked about the pitching, the defense. And you're absolutely right. The on-base percentage, he's got the power potential, and that's what the Rays wanted. You know you're going to get great defense with Carlos Pena, but they wanted some thump back in the lineup, and at least that home run potential, that power threat, and that's certainly what Carlos Pena gives you.
His 4-year run with the Rays, he averaged 36 homers and over 100 RBIs. And he smacks that one to right, and it's foul. It's up on the berm. And it's a fast-moving souvenir. 2-2 now. Josh Johnson facing the Rays. Pena in the cleanup spot. Both teams in a similar situation with their outfield, in that the Marlins have their corner outfielders today playing in minor league games. Logan Morrison and Giancarlo Stanton. Greg Dobbs also playing in a minor league game today as well. All three nursing injuries. Ball in the dirt, and it takes a wicked kick over Buck. And Joe Madden and the Rays have a nicked up outfield as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Desmond Jennings being bothered right now by his shoulder. Of course, you've got B.J. Upton, who had that nasty collision with Desmond Jennings. He's not been able to get back out on the field. Played one game in a minor league game. Didn't feel right. He's not been able to get back out there. So, yeah, both ball clubs dealing with a couple of guys that they plan on being in that starting lineup just about every day this year and being big producers. So some questions still to be answered.
Full count to Pena. He's had some good swings in this at bat, and JJ steps off. Thankfully for both managers and both teams, though, there are no real health concerns in their rotations, which is not the norm across baseball, with a lot of arms and a lot of injuries over the past couple weeks. JJ misses inside, and he's walked Longoria and Pena. He'll deal with Keppinger. This has been one issue with Johnson, and that is pitch count. He has had a tendency to get to that 5th or 6th inning and be up over 100 pitches. And for JJ, he's talked about trying to finish hitters off, not necessarily with a strikeout, but getting early contact. And rather than be a 5 or a 6 inning guy, get into the 7th and the 8th.
Well, and it's one thing too if hitters are putting some good at bats on you and battling, fouling some pitches off. This is an instance where it's been self-inflicted. 2 outs, nobody on base, and then back-to-back walks, and all of a sudden you double your pitch count, and that's where you start to get into trouble.
Keppinger now, and he takes a strike.
And Josh Johnson is one of those guys that through the years, he throws strikes. He can command the strike zone. Could he do a better job? We all could. But it's not like he's a guy that's out there just spraying it around.
No, most of his high pitch counts come from foul balls.
Well, when you get in the box against him, you better lock it in. And so guys get in there, especially if you get to 2 strikes, you try to battle. Talked about that devastating slider that he has.
He's 1-1 on Jeff Keppinger. And he misses in. Keppinger last year in Houston and in San Francisco. Marlins saw a lot of him in Cincinnati in 07 and 08. Chopper to third. Hanley backing up, has it, fires across in time, and Johnson is out of the first, and we're headed to the second with the Rays and the Marlins scoreless. coverage brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on the amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. Rich Waltz along with Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and Frank Fort are with us in Port Charlotte, where the Marlins and the Rays head to the second inning. Wade Davis gave up a triple to Emilio Bonifacio and a walk to Gabby Sanchez. He pitched out of trouble in the first. Josh Johnson did likewise in the bottom of the first. And Omar Infante stands in. His numbers from last year. Infante had a terrific year defensively. He was a finalist for the Gold Glove. He had just 8 errors. And he was one of the Marlins' hottest hitters in the second half. And Davis goes 2-0.
He came to the Marlins off that big season that he had with the Braves, hit over 300.
He was a super utility guy with the Braves, and the Marlins told him, "You're our second baseman. Go get him." And boy, did he ever last year. And he has a new 2-year contract. He signed through next season. And he and Jose Reyes have had an absolute ball in the spring, getting used to each other.
Well, I'll tell you what he took advantage of right here was a fastball that was elevated by Wade Davis. This ball up in the zone, watch Infante jump right on it. Boom. Well, you won't see hitters leave that pitch go too many times, and solid contact and a leadoff single.
Aaron Rowan now trying to make this ball club as a non-roster invitee, a guy that has 2 World Series rings. Played for Ozie Gan on that 2005 World Championship team in Chicago. Spent the last few years in San Francisco, and he's still being paid by the Giants a hefty sum. Trying to latch on and really battling for what seems to be 2 outfield spots with 4 guys in competition. Austin Kearns has had a terrific spring. He homered again yesterday. He's hit 3 on the season. The spring training season, that is. You've got Brian Peterson and Chris Coughlin, as the Marlins sent Scott Cousins down to AAA the other day.
And with Stanton and Morrison out, perfect opportunity for somebody to step up.
Marlins are hopeful that both Stanton and Morrison will be back and ready for opening day on the 4th of April. Rowan fouls it at the plate. I guess the question for Rowan is, how much does he have in the tank?
Getting some extra at-bats here with Morrison and Stanton being out. But it's always interesting to me when you are looking to hang on, to get another opportunity to be able to be a Major League Baseball player, how you end up gravitating back towards the manager that had you when you were in the middle of the prime of your career. And that's what Aaron Rowan in those years in Chicago with Ozie Gan, and now finding himself reunited.
Takes down low. He is a super intense individual. Everybody knows that. Just ask his cousin, James Shields. Rowan had very good years with the White Sox, and then a stay in Philadelphia where he endeared himself to the Philly fans with his blue-collar breakneck play out in center field. It's a chopper wide of first. Pena on the move and out there. Safe there. Rowan getting down the line. There's that Gold Glove and that smooth fielding of Carlos Pena.
Boy, almost turning a double play here. This ball off the end of the bat. Carlos Pena and the short hop. Not easy. Good throw there. Good turn. Aaron Rowan just able to beat it out. See a little trouble getting it out of the glove. But Sean Rodriguez with some nifty footwork. It's not in time.
So Rowan's at first, and now Brian Peterson to the plate. Peterson's bat has yet to come alive in the spring. Hitting at .229, 341 on base percentage. Of all the outfielders battling for the extra spot, Peterson is the most accomplished defensively. And to his credit, and certainly it will help him, he can play all 3 outfield spots and play them very well. As Ozie Gan has said, especially with Mike Stanton, or rather Giancarlo Stanton, it's going to take a while to get used to it. And Logan Morrison nursing those injuries, you need someone that can play either corner spot. Peterson fouls it off. Brian had a good year last year.
And you talk about that versatility. Being over here with the Rays, you see how much importance is put on that. If you've got a guy that you can run out there, like you said, to all three outfield spots, it puts you, a leg up. You'd like to see the bat come around, but when you look at both of these ball clubs, I think they want to see the bats come around entirely. These are the two lowest scoring teams in all of Major League Baseball spring training right now. So he's not the only one scuffling a little bit.
Well, there's a lot of theories that go around about spring training in terms of hitting and offense. And, veteran players will say, talk to me on April 4th and I'll tell you how I'm swinging. Other players want to be hot going into the spring.
I think when you get down to this point, you want to start to see guys putting together solid at-bats, game at-bats, regular season at-bats.
Peterson takes outside, and the count's 2-2. The oddity of spring training games is that players are in a different routine in that they work so hard in the mornings, drills, conditioning, and then play a game rather than in the regular season. Light batting practice, take some ground balls, and then you play. Out to left, Joyce, a circular route, and he makes the catch. Season ticket plans are on sale now for the inaugural season at Marlins Park. Several season ticket options, including the 81, the 40, and the 20 game plans. A season ticket plan is the best way to secure seats for what will be a historic season. As well, you can guarantee opening night tickets, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. And by the way, Brian, if you have parking questions, that's one of the questions about the new Marlins Park. They do have garages that will hold close to 6,000 cars. But if you're coming down and you've got tickets to the Yankees game, either of the Yankee games, or going to opening night, or our ticket holder and just curious about the regular season, if you go to marlins.com/parking, that'll get you all you need to know. Marlins.com/parking. Give you a map of the area, an interactive look at where to park, where the shuttles are, how to get in and out. JJ fouls it back to the screen. I mean, any downtown park, be it a Boston, New York, San Francisco, Denver, you have to be a little creative because in a lot of those parks, Wrigley Field, there isn't any parking. The Marlins at this point have 6,000 on site and a lot of parking in the area. Johnson hits that ball a ton to center. Elliott Johnson back, looks up, and it's off the wall. And JJ drives it into left center. Aaron Rowland will score. And that is how you know Josh Johnson is healthy. He had a 3-homer season when he was healthy. And he drives this one to one of the deepest parts of the park.
Yeah, you just cannot continue to feed fastballs to Josh Johnson. You see the swing there, the head down on the baseball. And he's a big boy. Goes about 6'7", 250, 260 pounds, and can drive the baseball. That's a big part of the field here in Port Charlotte. He gets it out there and gives the Marlins an early lead.
Well, JJ's at second. Here's Reyes now. His second time around against Davis. On the outside corner for a strike. Reyes bounced to first his first time up. That one's out. You're going to enjoy the new park, having been in it and having seen it, and everybody's anxious for the Yankee games coming up. A week from today, a 1 o'clock start against the Yankees, then a Monday night game. Reyes swings through that changeup.
Great arm speed on that changeup by Davis. Watch how far out in front. Reyes way out there. Quality pitch.
1-2. Reyes fouls it back.
Here in the early going, you've definitely seen Wade Davis try to come out and be aggressive with that power fastball.
For a staff that is known for getting deep in games, as the Rays were last year, Davis had issues doing exactly that. He averaged just over 5 innings a start.
And I think part of that was, like I said, a lot of times, early in the ball game, he would just kind of float through and then try to dial it up later, working against him in pitch count and efficiency.
And he gets Reyes on a tight breaking ball, but the Marlins are on the board, and it's Josh Johnson who puts him on there. 1-0.
Marlins lead the Rays 1-0. Tampa Bay coming to bat in the bottom half of the second inning. Rich and Brian were talking about some of the injuries, and one of the guys who's not in the lineup today, Desmond Jennings, joins us. DJ, how's the shoulder right now, and what's next for you?
It's good. It's good. It's played in the minor league game today. Didn't do any throwing, but I feel like I can throw right now. Probably another couple of days before they let me do anything, but I feel like I'm ready.
So right now, just DHing in the minor league games?
Yeah, DHing and playing defense with no throws, just to make sure I stay on top of everything.
So you're playing in left field. You're allowed to catch the ball, but you just can't do anything with it?
That's it. Once I catch it, I'm done. Throw it in.
What about that was a pretty scary collision not too long ago with BJ. Any effects from that, or you're okay from that injury?
No, that was fine. That was fine. Just kind of, I don't know, dazed me a little bit. Just shook me up. But, no soreness or nothing. I'm fine from that.
That was a pretty nasty collision. You guys have it worked out, though, for once the regular season starts?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do a little better communicating next time than we did. So.
Well, I know you were thinking about football as a career, too, so you had some football skills, because BJ's still hurting a little bit from that.
Yeah, I still got it. Still got it.
Thanks, DJ. Appreciate it. Guys, back to you.
That was a scary collision. It's the one thing managers fear the most in spring training is an on-field injury like that. Josh Johnson now into the bottom of the second, a 1-0 lead. JJ providing that with an RBI double. And he gets Luke Scott, Jose Molina, and Elliott Johnson. And Scott hits a chopper out towards Infante. And with one pitch, JJ has one out. And there's the exact thing that Josh Johnson has talked about, is early contact, a quality pitch, which ends up in the hands of a Gold Glove caliber second baseman.
And that's the key, the quality pitch. I mean, he has the stuff. He can attack the strike zone. We talked about the fact he's 6'7", so when he's driving that fastball downhill, really tough to get on top of. For a starting pitcher, too, and a power guy, he's got a pretty good ground ball percentage. It's up over 60% for his career, and you see what he can do when he attacks down in the zone early.
Here now is Molina, as in Jose Molina, as in the catching Molinas, who all now have 2 World Series rings each, with Yadier winning another one last year with St. Louis.
How about that family? Just win championships. They catch so well defensively. The way they set up, they move in and out, and the family tree. I mean, what is it, 3? 3 Molinas?
3 Molinas. You got Benji, Yadier's won 2 with the Cardinals, including last year. Benji and Jose were on that Anaheim team that won a world championship. And Benji won another ring with the Giants.
Well, tell me how that worked when they were getting together just playing as kids. Everybody wants to play catcher. Was there not another position they could pick?
Well, they were in Puerto Rico, and their father was a legend down there, and I believe he was an infielder. I don't think he was a catcher. Jose rolls it out towards short. Reyes, with that strong arm, whips it across. All right, B.A., it's your turn.
Well, you can relive the Rays magic from last season's final game when the Yankees come back for opening weekend on Sunday, April the 8th. The first 10,000 kids 14 and under will receive a Raymond cowbell presented by Chick-fil-A. Purchase your seats today. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com.
It will go down as one of the greatest days in baseball history. September 28th, that 8-7 win over the Yankees. This is Elliott Johnson. Of course, it was Dan Johnson who had a starring role along with Evan Longoria and the rest of the Rays. And there's a quick pitch inning for Josh Johnson as Elliott Johnson rolls over on one, and JJ has the lead, and he's through 2. Miami has a 1-0 lead over Tampa Bay. We're joined now by the 2011 American League Manager of the Year, Joe Madden. Hi, Joe. How are you?
We're doing well. How you guys doing up there?
Good.
Getting back in the swing. Joe, love the hair.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Hey, BA, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Where are you, man?
Right here, baby.
I see you now. I'm getting to look more like you every day, and I think that's a good thing.
Now, there's a story behind the hair, and there's not only some players, yourself, but a lot of front office folks that went Brian Anderson on us.
We did. We did this for pediatric cancer research. I was contacted by Vinny LeCavier a month ago, whatever that was, and then we put it together, combining the Moffitt Center also for the pediatric cancer research development, and that was a great day. I think 71 Rays players and administration people partook in the event.
Who was the most reluctant to do it as Bonifacio runs up and takes a pitch high?
The most reluctant might have been, I don't know, it was a combination of Andrew and Matt. I think they both were.
He had a lot of hair.
It was difficult to get him down there.
That's a good look at Evan Longoria. There is Andrew. Bonifacio takes a strike. Aside from the nicks that you have in the outfield, how has spring gone for you?
It's been a great spring. The work is great. We have a really group that likes to work on a daily basis. They interact really well. The camaraderie among the group is fantastic. So I have no problem with any of that. We've just been, like you said, a couple of bumps and bruises here and there. We haven't been able to get the regular team on the field with any kind of consistent basis. BJ's been out. Desmond's nursing a little bit of a sore arm right now. So overall, we're looking to get that. But the group you have out there today is a pretty solid Major League group.
You know, Joe, when you're talking about the outfielders, Desmond Jennings, B.J. Upton, obviously involved in that nasty collision, and B.J. not being able to make it back quite yet. What is the status, and what are your thoughts on them being ready for opening day? BJ, more specifically, because he hasn't been back in game action quite yet.
Yeah, I think BJ's a little bit more tenuous right now. We got to find out what's going on with that exactly. He did better today. Ron Porterfield just spoke to me in the dugout. I guess BJ had a better day. Didn't feel as stiff regarding his back or his side, whatever. I don't know exactly. I mean, we're going to try to get him out there ASAP and play. I think as of tomorrow we have 10 games left in spring training, so that's going to be really cutting it tight to get him back out. If we can get him out for at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 of those games, it might make somewhat of a difference. But Desmond, on the other hand, is doing really well. He went through his exercises today, and his arm felt actually pretty good. So he's been playing. He DH'd yesterday, so obviously he's a lot closer than BJ is right now.
Well, what are you going to have to see from them to be comfortable in firing them back out there? Because I know, like you said, you want to get some guys, game ready, get this team playing together and clicking before April starts, because it's a brutal schedule. What are you going to have to see?
Well, with Desmond, just get him out there and make sure that his arm is well and he's able to throw, because his legs are fine. He's got enough at-bats coming into this point of spring training. So Desmond's kind of on track minus the throwing. BJ, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult to judge this whole thing. With him, you want to see a greater cachet of at-bats. He hasn't had enough at-bats this camp. And then furthermore, everybody's looking at the at-bats, and that's always, I just talked about it first, but how about his legs, how about his arm, all those different things playing on the turf the first 3 games of the season. I'm not 100% sure exactly that's going to spell out for him, and that's why it's going to be really important to get him back out there relatively quick, because I'm really not that comfortable or sure how to get BJ ready at this time.
All right, Joe, thanks for the visit.
My pleasure.
And continued success. Good luck this year from everyone with the Marlins to you.
Thank you. It's great looking like VA these days.
Nicely done. Joe Madden, the skipper of the Rays. 1-0, Marlins. Bottom of the third in Port Charlotte. Miami a 1-0 lead over Tampa Bay. The skipper of the Miami Marlins, Ozie Gan, joins us. Has a nice ring to it. Miami Marlins, Ozie Gan. Ozzie, spring for you. Has it gone as planned?
I'm very excited. I mean, I think even we have 3 guys that are not playing much yet because some little injuries. And obviously, when you have 3 guys that line up every day, we're not going to score that many runs. But to me, the more important thing is just how we're going to play, how we're pitching, and how we play defense. The hitting will come around. I'm very excited about it. I think everybody is in the point right now to be what they're going to be and ready to go.
And Josh Johnson today has looked sharp both on the mound and at the plate.
It's one thing about it, since the first day, means every time this kid go out pitch, we have to monitor him very well because he come up from injuries. From day one, he's throwing the ball pretty good, feel very good. Not doing the game. I mean, the biggest thing is after the game, the next day, and he feel pretty strong.
Ozzie, you inherit a Marlins ball club that finished 30 games out last year in the National League East. How do you go about going into spring training and convincing these guys that the time to contend is right now?
Well, I think we got a better ball club. There's no doubt about it. I think they have to believe how good they can be, how good they are. And, you know, in my first meeting, I say, I don't care what happened in the past. You was great or you was bad. You stay in the past. And more important to me was from the first day to spring training to the end of the season. And it's been pretty good. I mean, you cannot, you know, carry over a bad year to the new one. That's why I think it's very important.
Oh, Bonifacio with a terrific sliding catch in center field.
Well, it looked like Jim Hammond there. He went back like 4 steps and come. That's what the speed do.
We're watching it on replay. That's one of the things that Bonifacio does extremely well. Is that the infielder in him, the way he charges the ball, both on the ground and a pop-up like that?
Well, Bonnie can play everywhere. I think we're going to keep there and center field the most we can. And, I mean, hopefully can do the job of some fun spring training. It's been terrific. You know, I mean, you make every play being hitting out there. And it starts shooting the ball a lot better lately.
Much has been talked about Hanley Ramirez's health and the play at third base. I know you've been pleased with that. It's been fun to watch Jose Reyes and Omar Infante work together as well.
Well, he's great. You know, every morning you come out and those guys having fun, and especially Hanley. Hanley got the smile back. Love the game, and then, you know, he's been doing everything we asked him to do, and I predict that. I know he's going to come, you know, some days like everybody else does, but he's been great. I think Hanley, you're going to see the Hanley was in the past early in his career, and I think third base is doing better. It was way better than what I thought. You know, he's been playing tremendous third base.
That's nice work by Josh Johnson. Whenever you have the manager on a 1, 2, 3 inning just like that. Ozzie, thanks for the visit.
Hey, no, my English is not that good. Want to get me out of here quick.
All right, Marlins on top, 1-0. Today's game presented in high definition and brought to you by H.H. Gray. Rich Waltz, Brian Anderson, a little bit of Marlins, a little bit of Rays, and Wade Davis, aside from the 400-foot double he gave up to Josh Johnson, has been effective. He's got John Buck, Omar Infante, and Aaron Rowan here in the fourth. Davis battling at the back of that rotation for the Rays, which is absolutely stacked. James Shields, David Price, Jeremy Hellickson, Rookie of the Year. Matt Moore, many feel, will be a top of the rotation guy in no time at all. Jeff Neiman, you've got Davis. Buck takes a fastball that's up, and it's 2-1.
Well, there's the battle. Matt Moore, Wade Davis, Jeff Neiman. You just touched on all three of those guys. I'll give you two other names to let you know about the Rays rotation depth. You have Alex Torres, and you've got Alex Cobb.
Buck hits that one to right and hits it pretty well. It is deep. It is gone. Wow. That one banging off the complex out there in right field. And John Buck goes opposite field, and the Marlins have a 2-0 lead.
Well, John Buck generates a lot of power with a big, long swing. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you leave a pitch elevated to John Buck where he can get the extension, and you're going to see that right here. Boom. I mean, he drives the ball when he gets extension.
And the hope for Buck this year certainly is that playing in the air conditioning in New Marlins Park will keep him fresher, keep the bat a little stronger, get him back to where he was in Toronto, where he was an American League All-Star and he clubbed 20 homers. So Buck with a long ball. Josh Johnson drove in the other run with an RBI double. And you've got Infante, who lined a single to left his first time up. And Davis has fallen behind in the count, 3-0. The Rays rotation is stacked. The Marlins rotation is healthy. With Josh Johnson at the top, you got Mark Burley. Ricky Nolasco looks good in the spring. Carlos Zambrano has been outstanding. He's lost 20 pounds. Playing for Ozie Gan, a guy that he's so close with. Infante takes outside. And Anibal Sanchez seems to be healthy. The shoulder is sound, coming off a very good year. Marlins have had a nice spring from Wade LeBlanc, who, were there an opening in the rotation, would be certainly challenging, if not in there. And Ozie Gan may choose to keep LeBlanc around as a long man.
Well, there's a good opportunity that somewhere down the road this year that LeBlanc's going to get his opportunity to slide into the rotation. Very rarely do you ever hear, of a team being able to go through an entire season with just 5 starters. So good chance. It's nice to have that depth, because if you're going to have a team that you consider a championship caliber team, a team contending for a playoff spot, you had better have some pieces to plug in.
Rowan hits a soft pop-up out to short. Rodriguez is there. And a good pitch by Wade Davis.
Right fielder number 11.
There's one out. So the Marlins rotation right now has gone through the spring, knock on wood, healthy. And Josh Johnson certainly is the headliner. But of course you've got Burley, who's had such a terrific run with the White Sox. Sanchez has put together back-to-back solid years. Ricky Nolasco and Carlos Zambrano, who, if he's anything like the spring, won't be considered a number 5 starter for long.
No, you look at Nolasco and Sanchez, and you think about those two making that jump to the next level, perfectly capable to do it. Zambrano reinvigorated back with close friend Ozie Gan. You talked about the weight loss. That says a lot about the work ethic in the offseason. Heard that the fastball's been coming back, the four-seamer getting that good velocity back. And then, of course, Mark Burley, the veteran lefty that just moves the ball around. It's not going to blow you away with velocity. He's just going to go out, make you look foolish, and win big ball games.
And I think the Rays have proved that when you have a guy like James Shields at the top of your rotation, and he throws 11 complete games and is a horse, that everybody kind of falls in line behind them. And the Marlins are hopeful that having Josh Johnson healthy, he can fill that role. Having Burley out there every 5 days, that everybody kind of falls in line behind those two.
Yeah, and then how you stagger them. You go with the power guy Johnson, just blows people away. Then Burley, the lefty that's going to move the ball in and out. But you're right. I mean, Josh Johnson is a guy that the Marlins need to be healthy, need to get 30 starts out of him at least, and be there all season long if they want to make a move in the National League East.
Infante's at first, and Peterson takes a strike. It counts 2-1. Davis has run into some control issues here in the 4th. Davis in the mid-60s right now in terms of pitch count. But this is the time of the spring where managers want to see their starters get into the 5th, touch the 6th. Breaking ball, strike.
You want to build that pitch count up because you know that typically if you're going to be in the starting rotation at the beginning of the regular season, that last start that you have, they scale you back a little bit, just do some fine tuning. So you want to make sure around this time that you're building up into that 90 pitch range, close to 100. Wade Davis had 63 in his last outing in 5 innings against the Marlins, and already there here in the 4th.
Check swing fouled off. He was one of the toughest, and this is with Infante at first, he was one of the toughest in the American League to run against last year. Opposing base stealers were just 2 of 6 against Davis. That was 2nd in the American League. 1st in the American League, Mark Burley.
Now, Mark Burley's had one of the best pickoff moves in the game since he stepped into the league.
Peterson gets into that one to right field. That one's deep. Zobrist back at the wall. Gone! And the Marlins have hit 2 home runs against Wade Davis. Brian Peterson, sitting on a breaking ball, drives it out to right.
Well, when you see this replay, Wade Davis is trying to come back with that slider down and in, and watch Peterson do a tremendous job of following that pitch down. You can see his head stay right on the baseball, was not fooled, follow it down, and whack it. That's a good piece of hitting there by Peterson.
And so Peterson's certainly helping his cause with that home run. And here's JJ, who blasted one off the wall at left field for an RBI double, his first at bat. JJ fouls it off. He may have to find some new bats because, as I remember, the year that Johnson hit his 3 home runs, and they were to center field. They were big boy home runs. He was using Chris Volstad's bats, and Volstad, of course, now in the Cubs organization. And the home runs that he hit were similar to this. Balls to center or just off to left center.
It looked like a hitter right there. Waited on that baseball and drove it the other way.
Rolls this one out to second. Keppinger flips it to first. And there are 2 outs. Here in the 4th, the Marlins have hit 2 out. John Buck, his 2nd of the spring, a homer to right. And Brian Peterson to right field. Peterson's first. A look at Jim Hickey, pitching coach for the Rays, who has done such a nice job. Tom Foley next to him in the dugout. Here's Reyes. We've talked so much about the top of the Marlins order, and it's been the bottom of the order that's done the damage. Buck in the 5 spot, of course, has the homer, but Peterson, the number 8 hitter, has 2 RBIs. And JJ from the 9 spot with an RBI double.
No, that's why as a starting pitcher, you're going to go out there and be running through the lineup. And I'm not saying that this is what happened with Wade Davis, but you've really got to lock it in on every single guy in the lineup, because sometimes you're so focused on controlling a certain part of the order. You've got the speed at the top of this order, the power in the middle. Sometimes concentration not quite where it should be as you get to the bottom of the order and they jump up and bite you.
3-1 now to Reyes. He's bounced out and struck out. Right back at Davis, who knocks it down and throws it away. Davis, who was hit by a line drive against the Marlins earlier this year, is waving to the dugout that I'm okay, but here comes Joe Madden and the training staff.
Well, this was a rocket shot by Reyes right back at Wade, hit him, and this was an angry throw. Not real happy about getting hit. He kind of held onto the ball and fired it. You get a good shot of it here.
Catch him in the back or the side, or did it hit his glove?
Oh, it sounded like flesh.
Yes, it did. And the ow, I think, was a good clue.
Yeah. When you get hit like that, it stings. You run back there and grab that baseball, and you are not happy. And that's exactly. Wade kind of paused there for a second and then threw about a 92-mile-an-hour fastball over towards Carlos Pena. A little bit offline.
Not sure if it's a hit or an error, and not sure that it really matters here in the spring. But Reyes is at first, and a long inning continues for the Marlins. Here comes Bonifacio, who has tripled and has bounced out. They are giving Reyes a hit. I think degree of difficulty on the catch is probably the deciding factor. And we talked about Davis and how good he has been at holding runners. And certainly a test here, though the Marlins really haven't turned Reyes loose in the spring. You see his numbers from last year. He's got a good lead, and he was leaning, and he's picked off. And that, my friends, is why Wade Davis is one of the toughest in the American League to run against. But the Marlins go deep twice. John Buck led off the inning and went opposite field, his second of the spring. And then with a runner on, Brian Peterson to right. With 4 runs on 6 hits. It's the bottom of the 4th. Brian Peterson, John Buck with home runs.
You know, secure your seats for opening day with Rays season tickets and enjoy exclusive benefits, including the best seats, biggest savings, as well as postseason privileges. With a variety of plans available and special payment options, you can be a part of the team today. Rays season tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com.
It almost feels like the Marlins and the Rays are in the same division because they do have a home-and-home series. And the Marlins this year, with a real oddity in the schedule, not only have a home-and-home with the Rays, but also have a home-and-home with the Red Sox.
Not making it easy on them.
No, and I think it's a pretty easy argument to make that the American League East and the National League East are the 2 toughest divisions in baseball right now on paper.
Well, I don't think you'd have too many people that would argue with that. And so you're right. You're talking about having to 6 games against those 2 teams. Not easy.
Evan Longoria fouls it back. Longoria walked back in the first.
Well, that's why, you know, as we were talking to Ozie Gan, I mean, this team finished 30 games out last year, and you're talking about a team that's primed to make a run. If all the pieces fall into place, the pitching holds up. This is a good, solid ball club, and coming from that far back, you realize what's ahead of them. Washington should be improved. Of course, the Braves had the meltdown late last year, but, you know, they're going to be hanging around. The Phillies.
Roller by Hanley into left field, and Longoria has a base hit to lead off the 4th. As well, I mean, it's a team that you go back and look at the NL East last year. This is really an anomaly for the Marlins to go 72 and 90 and be 30 out, because in 2010 they finished 3rd in the division. In 2009 they won 87 games and finished 2nd. In 2008 they won 84 games and finished 3rd. And the core of this team, you know, you still have 3 starting pitchers from the 2006 ball club, which was so young, and Johnson, Nolasco, and Sanchez. You've got homegrown corner outfielders in Stanton and Morrison, a homegrown first baseman in Gabby Sanchez. And last year, the Marlins had the 2nd best record in the National League going into June. And of course, Johnson injured, Hanley Ramirez injured. And the Marlins had one of the worst Junes in baseball history. Of course, the Rays contributed to that, because the Marlins saw the Rays in June, but June was just a disaster for the ball club, and they never recovered.
New season.
Absolutely, new season. As Ozzie said, new team, better team, healthy team. We've got the addition of Mark Burley, a brand new shortstop, Jose Reyes, considered one of the best shortstops in the game. You still have a guy that was one of the best shortstops in the game. He's now your third baseman. And you've brought in an all-star closer in Heath Bell. So certainly the pieces are in place. Pena working the count at 3-0. He's a fascinating study for the sabermetrics crowd in terms of on-base percentage and production. Always a high strikeout guy, but always a high walk. I mean, last year he walked 101 times and struck out 161 times.
When you think about it, the amount of strikeouts, obviously a big swing and miss guy, but also has a good eye. I mean, make heads or tails of that. That lets you know that Carlos Pena has one of those swings where most of the time he's looking to do one thing, and that is to drive the ball with authority. It's precisely the reason the Rays brought him back.
Yeah, if they can get the Carlos Pena of old, the 4-year run that we talked about with the Rays, then they really will have something. Longoria's at first. One fouled off a buck, and it's 3-2. The Rays last year were 91-71, and they won their last 5 games. And of course, that great night, they came from behind, down 7-0 to the Yankees.
Well, that entire night of baseball was something else, with the teams that were involved and what was at stake. Special to be a part of.
You and I had a chance to go to Los Angeles to the Fox Major League seminar, and a lot of the different regions that were involved in that game talking about that night and just the dynamics of what was going on with the Braves collapsing. At the time, one of the biggest collapses in baseball history, only to be trumped by the Red Sox later in the night. The Red Sox in Baltimore working late in the night. Johnson misses, and now the Rays have something going. JJ had easy innings pitch-wise in the second and the third, but here in the fourth, the leadoff single and a walk, and here comes Keppinger. Of course, this year you've got the extra wild card team, and one of the immediate reactions was, well, you had one of the greatest nights in baseball history with just one wild card team last year. You might spoil the fun, but when you stop and think about it, that night last year only comes around once every 50, 60 years.
That's right. All those years of one wild card team.
Keppinger to right field, and it's caught at the shoe tops there by Peterson, who throws to first. Sanchez can't scoop it. Longoria is on his way to third. A nice play in right by Brian Peterson, who is a terrific outfielder, and had the throw been a little more negotiable, it would have been a double play.
Yeah, Keppinger hits his ball, pushes it out into right field. Peterson, a nice catch, and then realizes that he's got Carlos Pena caught off of first base. And you're right, a little bit better of a throw, and there was a double play to be had.
It will be a throwing error eventually on Peterson that accounts for Longoria going to third, and now Johnson will face Luke Scott, who swung at the first pitch he saw and bounced it out to second base. That was Scott's only at bat back in the second inning. Scott is 33. With Florida ties. It's a Land Florida product. Indian River Community College before going on to Oklahoma State.
It's not a look you see every day.
Here's the 0-1. The Rays would like to get a little more production out of that DH spot this year.
And precisely the reason, again, Luke Scott was brought in coming off shoulder surgery with the Baltimore Oriole Ball Club last year. And there it is. A lot of home runs between the two of them.
The 3 seasons prior to last year, Scott averaged 25 homers a season. 0-2. Well, now Johnson's in a position where he's trying to put a hitter away.
Well, and he came out against Luke Scott knowing this situation. He's going to be aggressive, try to drive the ball, drive in Evan Longoria down there at third base. He starts him off changeup, gets ahead of him 0-2, and then the fastball up around the face trying to get him to chase that pitch. A little bit too high.
Both starters have worked into the 4th. Marlins a 4-0 lead. Home runs by John Buck and Brian Peterson. And the breaking ball, Scott takes it in. And so from an 0-2 count, it goes to 2-2.
Not an easy pitch to lay off of. And that slider out of the hand of Johnson will look like a fastball in the inner half. 2 strikes. You feel like you've got to protect. You start to commit to the swing. The ball disappears and you walk back to the dugout. Not there.
2-2. And he's way outside. So he missed in and he missed out with the slider. And the count's full at 3-2 with 1 out.
Luke Scott, good fastball hitter. 4 of the 5 pitches have been off speed. This is Josh Johnson trying to pitch like this is a regular season game, pitch out of trouble, try to take advantage of the aggressiveness of Luke Scott.
Pena's on the move. And it's fouled off of Scott's foot. So the Rays being aggressive. Starting Carlos Pena.
Got to have a lot of faith in Luke Scott being able to put the ball in play, because this is a prime candidate for strike him out, throw him out. Carlos Pena down there at first base. But that's Joe Madden knowing his ball club and pushing the envelope.
See if he's running again on 3-2. He's on the move. It's taken for ball 4. Johnson came in with a fastball, and now the bags are loaded with Jose Molina coming up.
A close pitch here. Challenges just off the plate.
Where's Fox Tracks when you need it?
Yeah, that looked like a pretty good pitch. Very close.
Well, the infield is back for 2, and you've got a, if you want to use the term again, a prime candidate for a double play, but this would be Jose Molina, and he goes after the first pitch and fouls it off.
Oh, and his approach right now against the hard-throwing Johnson is try to get a pitch elevated and be able to at least drive it out into the outfield. And try not to get to 2 strikes so you don't have to see the dark one, the slider.
Just 1 out, bags loaded. And it's in. Molina last year caught 55 games for the Blue Jays. The most games he has caught in a season, surprisingly, with the Yankees in 08, 97. One of the big questions around the Rays is, can Jose Molina catch 120, 130 games, or will the Rays have someone emerge from within, be it a Jose Lobaton or Chris Jimenez, or is there other catcher wearing a different uniform right now?
I think that they're keeping all their options open, and when you think about what Jose Molina is going to be able to bring to the table for the Rays, 120, 130 games, I think, is completely out of the question. I think
it's
you're
pretty ambitious.
That is very ambitious. I think you look back at that big year with the Yankees with 97 games, and it's going to be, I think, a best-case scenario would be in that ballpark. You do the math and figure there's another 60-plus out there that someone's going to have to, eat up, and it's a significant amount of playing time.
Here's the 2-2. There's a ground ball. Reyes, Infante, and Johnson gets the double play and gets out of the inning. Marlins are going to see that combination all year long. Reyes to Infante.
Welcome back to Port Charlotte, top of the 5th inning. Marlins lead the Rays 4-0 with the bench coach of the Miami Marlins, Joey Cora. And Joey, every Marlin fan has this question in their mind. How is Hanley Ramirez adapting to third base? You work with him on a daily basis. How's he doing there?
He's doing well. He's taking, he likes it. He likes to play third base right next to Reyes, and he's working hard, and he's going to be all right. He's going to be better than people expect, and he wants to be the best out there, so that's part of it. That's why he's taking to it and working as hard as he can.
Certainly athletically he can do it. Gabby's solid at first base. The middle infield is very good. Are you very confident about the infield defense?
I'm very confident, yeah. They're very good, and they're very experienced. Even though they're young, they're experienced. They've been in the big leagues for a while, and very athletic, and they're going to make some plays that pitchers are going to be very happy about.
I've heard you described as the counterweight to Ozie Gan. Why do you guys work so well together?
I don't know about that, but he's a very good manager. He's very good with people and very good strategies. And we're going to have a good team, and we're going to have some fun. And part of it, my thing is trying to make it as easy as I can for him to make good decisions and help this team win.
You guys have both been in baseball a long time, but coming over from the American League, with all the double switches in the National League and the use of the bullpen, is it an adjustment at all?
I think the biggest adjustment for us is not going to be that. We always play in a league every year, so that's all right. It's going to be knowing the players of the other teams that really we didn't play. I mean, we know the Cubs guys because we play them every year. But the other teams like Washington and the Mets, et cetera, that we don't play that often, that's going to be a little bit of adjustment knowing the players on the other teams. But we got good scouting reports here, good scouts, and hopefully that helps.
And one final thing, are you over Vanderbilt's exit from the NCAA tournament?
I thought we were going to go farther, I'll be honest with you. We had a good team. We just beat Kentucky and SEC, and it just happened that I guess we didn't play as good against Wisconsin, but things are looking up for Vanderbilt.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. I appreciate the time. Joey, of course, came out of Vanderbilt, a former #1 draft pick, coming into the major leagues. Let's go back upstairs, guys.
And, of course, Frank, the older brother of Alex, who played at the University of Miami. Joey was a terrific player in his day. I saw him in Seattle from 95 through 97. He was a teammate of Ozie Gan's with the White Sox from 91 to 94. Actually was drafted, came up in the Padres organization, just like Gan, who came up as a San Diego Padre and then was dealt before he got to the big leagues. Cora could play. Joey, a very heady second baseman, always had a good on-base percentage, could steal a base. Bonifacio slaps it to third. Longoria drops it and out at first by an eyelash. Here's Bonifacio. He's 1 for 3 with a triple.
You see the speed. You saw it on the triple. Here it is. This ball slapped off the bat. Gets to Evan Longoria pretty quickly. Just a little bit of a hiccup, and Bonifacio almost beat that out.
One of the fastest men in baseball. And last year, as a base stealer, he really blossomed. We talked about Jack McKeon's influence. Bonifacio stole 40 bases last year. He had just 5 stolen bases at the end of June when McKeon pulled him aside and said, son, when I tell you to run, run. And if you get thrown out, it's my bad. Hanley muscles one up the middle into center field, a base hit. And so Hanley is 1 for 3. And he's at first base. Up comes Gabby Sanchez. The wait is almost over. Opening night with the Marlins and the Cardinals coming up on April 4th. A limited amount of opening night tickets are still available through Marlins season ticket plans. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com today. Hanley's running on the first pitch, and it pops through Molina all the way to the screen. Hanley gets a stolen base. You don't see a ball get by a Molina all that often. We were talking about Marlins Park. BA, if you want a better look at it, here's some of the video from one of the nights in which the Marlins played one of the college teams.
It's got that Miami flair.
It does. The Miami feel, that Miami vibe. There to the fish tanks. That is a cool shot from the fish tank out down the third base line. Gabby Sanchez, a high fly ball. And again, if you're a Marlins season ticket holder, if you're planning on coming to either the Yankee games or opening night or any game this year, and you're concerned about parking, the Marlins do have some spaces available for sale in the garages for pre-sale. You can buy them before you come down. Or go to marlins.com/parking. It's a new web page designed specifically for parking questions and parking solutions when you're coming to the new Marlins Park. John Buck drove one out to right field for his second homer of the spring. TBA, when you guys come over to play the Marlins, this is going to be one of the great looks.
Is that where you're going to put me? I'll tell you what, that place looks fantastic, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. Intimate setting.
A view of downtown, the downtown skyline. Buck did not check his swing. He went around. The count's 1-1.
Well, they did it right. I mean, talk about an exciting year down with the Marlins. The new stadium, the new uniforms, you bring in Ozie Gan, colorful personality. Hey, there's enough personality in this team to go around for a couple of different, maybe the division. Should be an interesting, fun season.
1-1. Buck takes down low.
And you get to have a front row seat.
I do. It's going to be fun. Open with the Cardinals on April 4th. And the Marlins will be involved in 3 openers. Because after the April 4th opener, the team goes on the road and opens the season for the Cincinnati Reds, that traditional opener in Cincinnati, a 4 o'clock start on that Thursday following a Wednesday night game. And then on that same road trip, the Marlins end up in Philadelphia, and that will be the Phillies home opener. So the Marlins are going to be pretty good at lining up on the baseline and tipping their caps.
They will have that down. You know, you look at that schedule, and obviously you love the fact the Marlins are obviously going to get to open up at home against the Cardinals, and then boom, immediately out on the road for an afternoon game the next day. You think to yourself, we'd planned this a little bit better, Major League Baseball.
Well, I'll tell you the backstory behind that. The Marlins were scheduled to play Cincinnati on Friday in Cincinnati, but Friday is Good Friday, and the Reds didn't want to play a game on Good Friday. They wanted to play on Thursday. It's the tradition in Cincinnati, one of the original National League teams. And so the compromise was a 4 o'clock game on Thursday with an off day on Friday in case of rain, and Good Friday, and then you play Saturday and Easter Sunday. And the same drill in Philadelphia, I believe, is a Monday game with an off day on Tuesday in case of inclement weather. 3-2 coming to Buck with Hanley at second. Up and in, and Buck, who walked last year a career high 54 times. Here's the schedule. You see the off day on Friday in Cincinnati, the off day against the Phillies. Not only is it a bit of an odd start to the schedule, but look at the teams that the Marlins play. The world champion Cardinals, a team that is favored with the exit of Pujols and Fielder in the Central, the Reds, and then, of course, you've got the Phillies, who have won 5 straight division titles. Wade Davis is on his way out. You saw JP Howell down in the bullpen. Looks like he's trotting in as well. Marlins have a 4-0 lead in the 5th in Port Charlotte. Important start for Wade Davis, Brian, and he exits here in the 5th inning.
Well, some mixed results for Wade Davis. Made some very good pitches, a couple of mistakes. But yeah, you know that decision time's getting close. Wanted to go out with a bang. There was a big pitch out of a jam in the 1st inning. Good slider there, down and in, picking up the strikeout. And then here's the not so good. The elevated fastball away. John Buck, good extension. Line drive right off the side. Wade Davis, though, tough guy, stays in the ball game. There's his final line: 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, a couple of strikeouts.
As Joe Madden said earlier on our telecast, about 10 games left before they all count. JP Howell coming out of the bullpen.
JP last season coming back from shoulder surgery, not easy to come back from, and a little bit of a struggle for JP. Consistency was an issue, the sharpness of his pitches, but he has had a very good spring. Joe Madden impressed by JP and what he's been able to do, and looking to finish strong here going into the regular season.
And of course, he had just a terrific 2 years in 08 and 09. So dependable, so durable. Coming out of the bullpen, ERAs under 3. Averaged 66 appearances a year in those 2 years. And an off-speed pitch, a strike. So Omar Infante with Hanley Ramirez out at second base, John Buck at first, and the Marlins on top of the Rays 4-0.
And JP was just so good at being able to spot the fastball, not overpowering at all. He's got a very good, sharp-breaking curveball. You just move the ball around, and you're right. You talk about dependability. That's why, coming off of that shoulder issue, JP, one day he would look like the JP of old. The next day, you get the curveball would roll a little bit. Location wasn't there. You see his spring.
Well, you ask any pitcher who's been through it. Josh Johnson didn't have surgery. Anibal Sanchez did have surgery. The shoulder is oftentimes much tougher to come back from than, say, a Tommy John surgery.
Right.
He's out in front now, 0-2. And Howell to the plate. And he got him. So a strikeout of Infante ends the inning. Marlins leave a couple. And we're headed to the bottom of the 5th. Halfway through here in Port Charlotte. JP Howell finishes off Omar Infante. Marlins up 4-0.
It is 4-0 Marlins as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Joining us now is Rays pitching coach Jim Hickey. And Jim, first of all, your assessment of what Wade Davis did today.
Well, it wasn't bad overall. He got a ball or two up into the wind that probably helped a little bit, but we've also had a number of them that the wind has hindered this spring. But he got into the 90-pitch range, which is what we were shooting for. I would have liked to have gotten him back out there for the 6th inning, but we'll try to get him up to 6 or 7 next time out.
He's been a target for hitters the last couple of starts. He got hit again today. How's he doing?
Well, he's doing good. Actually, it was a pretty square, pretty solid hit, but it missed his ribs. It was kind of a little bit lower in the meteor area, and it didn't really seem to affect him too much. And he threw the ball over the first base. He never made another pitch that inning. After that, he just picked the guy off. I thought that was pretty efficient.
What about the battle? I know you've been asked about it a lot for the final spot in the rotation. And when would you like to make a decision about that?
Well, ideally, probably we would have it ironed out by now, but that's just not the case. But I think relatively soon you'll probably see us make a decision on that, and then also come up with the order of the rotation also, on a little bit more of a concrete basis.
How much of that is to lock in your 5, but also to get whoever is the odd man out acclimated to the bullpen?
Well, I think it's probably equal parts both. Whoever is going to be the 5th starter is already in great shape in terms of being a starter, and the guy that needs to go to the bullpen and get a little bit more acclimated to the bullpen, he probably needs a couple of more days in order to do that. It's not a perfect scenario, but it is what it is, and I think whoever it is will adjust just fine.
And do you see that as a role that maybe we've seen with Andy Sonnenstein in the past, where whoever it is that goes to the bullpen could still be a starter if needed later in the season?
I don't see it as quite the same role, but yes, whoever goes could certainly be a starter because they've already been a starter for a couple of seasons. But I don't see this guy going to the bullpen either to wait for the 4 or 5 inning stint. I see him pitching meaningful innings, in the game, kind of unlike your normal long man who just kind of is an emergency, safety valve type of a thing. I would see this guy as a little bit more productive pitcher.
Any sense of relief, do you think, once this decision's made? Has it been a little different spring for those guys battling?
I think probably there's going to be a sense of relief all around, not just between the 2 or 3 guys that might be battling for the spot. I think as we settle in, make the decision, I think everybody just kind of settles in a little bit more, looks forward to just doing exactly what they need to do to get ready for the regular championship season versus worrying about things that are out of their control.
Marlins checking on Josh Johnson right now in the 5th inning. Jim, we saw JP Howell throw that last batter, pick up a big strikeout. What's been the difference with JP this spring than we saw maybe last season?
Well, last season he was coming off of the injury, obviously, so he's certainly more healthy right now. We didn't expect JP to be the JP that we saw prior to the surgery last season. Maybe as we got into the season, he would become better and better, which I think that he probably did. But I think this year, right here, right now, as we speak, he's probably a better pitcher even right now this spring than he probably was at any time last year. And I think a lot of it has to do, or at least just as much with confidence as it does with physical health, because, once you feel confident that you could just turn and burn and let let it rip, you're going to be a lot better off for it. And I think that's where he's at right now.
So final thing, tomorrow Jeff Neiman goes, and then shortly thereafter the Rays fans should know a decision, you think?
I would think so. I mean, I would be surprised if it continued, to play out, because there's only whatever there is, 11 games or so left right now. So it's certainly something we need to take care of.
Thanks for the time.
All righty.
All right, guys, that's Jim Hickey. Back to you.
Nice job, Todd. That big whoosh of air you heard was a exhale from the Marlins dugout as they went out to check on Josh Johnson. Sean Cunningham, the Marlins, one of the Marlins trainers, was out there, and Johnson's, whatever Johnson said to him, and Randy St. Clair was there as well, was enough that Ozie Gan, who was intercepted on his way to the mound, turned right back around and headed to the dugout. And Johnson is approaching 70 pitches on a day where he's had to do some, as a pitcher, certainly you want arm strength, Brian, but you also want to put yourself in position that you're going to be in the regular season. I think JJ has had a few of those already today.
He has. He's been forced to work a little bit. You want to get that pitch count up, but you definitely want to throw meaningful pitches and have to exert yourself a little bit because you know what's waiting around the corner. You already talked about what's going to be facing this team out of the gate with a tough schedule. You want to get off to a quick start, a new building, a lot of high expectations. This is your horse. And I think that's why when he let the staff on their way out there know that I'm good to go, I'm healthy, then spin around and let him go.
Sean Rodriguez swings and misses, and the count is 0-2. Good sharp breaking ball. Now he's out in front. Rodriguez in the 9 spot, and then Ben Zobrist and Matt Joyce with Longoria lurking. In a game in which the Marlins jumped on Wade Davis, Josh Johnson started the scoring with an RBI double. Boy, that's the second time JJ has had a good move and almost picked a runner off.
And the Rays trying to get something going offensively. Haven't been able to do much with the sticks off Johnson. Maybe try to get aggressive on the base paths, and Josh Johnson with another quick move, accurate throw, and a close play.
Another throw. Johnson's a guy that after his Tommy John surgery really transformed his body. In the course of rehabbing for Tommy John, he changed his workout regimen, lost weight, redistributed some of the weight, and it looks like that same thing has happened again. Runner goes, hit and run into right field. That one just got under Elliott Johnson. Peterson picks it up, and the Rays execute a hit and run perfectly.
Well, that's it right there. When you're struggling offensively, you look to try to create. Elliott Johnson taken off on the pitch. Sean Rodriguez perfectly executed. Fonte covering, you shoot that ball right into right field. That is textbook hit and run.
And that's what's great about spring training. In a 4-0 game, Joe Madden is trying to simulate a situation, a hit and run situation that maybe in a 4-0 game against Boston or New York, you may not be hitting and running, but still you got to work on it in spring training, and it works perfectly. Here's Zobrist now.
And you never quite know with Joe Madden. He may try to pull that off, trying to jumpstart this offense. We talked during the course of this spring, the Rays not been very good offensively, so you look to jumpstart there, and by doing that, it's executed perfectly, and now you roll that back to the top of the order.
Zobrist, and then you've got Joyce and Longoria. Zobrist has singled in 2 trips. Rays have 3 hits against Johnson. Little roller up first base. The pitch count for Johnson over 70 now. And it's, if you look back through the scorebook, we talked about deep counts. It's right at 70. And Johnson, as you pointed out, has kind of self-inflicted a lot of those with walks.
He had a couple quick walks, 4 or 5 pitches, but then he had a couple of instances where he got up 0-2, 1-2 and let the hitter back in the count, trying to get him to chase. Rays hitters laid off.
5 walks in the ball game. Runner goes. Buck, no throw to second. And the Rays swipe second, eliminate the shot at a double play. And this has all the looks of a big inning for the Rays with runners second and third and nobody out.
Now that's picking the right pitch to run on. You know 0-2. You know how Johnson loves that slider up in the count like that, especially with a good hitter at the plate. Rodriguez picks that pitch to go and makes it easily.
And this is where, as a manager in Ozie Gan and a pitching coach in Randy St. Clair, as I pointed out, pitch count is one thing, but you want to see pitchers at this point in the spring in spots like this, where they've got to bear down and get outs with guys in scoring position.
This is reality. You know, as much as you'd like to come into spring training and breeze right through it, you've got to face some adversity. You've got to be able to pitch in some tough situations and not on a side field, out here in front of people where the adrenaline's pumping.
There's that slider. A nasty one, and Buck held it. It was a foul tip, and it goes as a strikeout, and here comes Matt Joyce.
Now, just so hard to lay off of. You know, you're protecting with 2 strikes. Look at that ball just disappear. I mean, what are you going to do? You execute a pitch like that, the hitter really doesn't have much of a chance.
Johnson pitched out of a bases-loaded 1-out situation in the 4th. But now he's got Joyce, and Longoria's on deck. Pulled, foul. For Joyce, he is punched out twice. Two of the 3 strikeouts that Johnson had. JJ, last year you pointed out just the 9 starts. He had an incredible April. His ERA at the end of April was 0.88. It was the 4th lowest ERA in April in Major League history. And of course, the injury came in mid-May, and that was really had a domino effect, taking him out of the rotation. As we pointed out, the Marlins, so good through April and May, just fell apart in June.
And when your horse goes down like that, especially after that start.
Good fastball under the hands and on the corner.
Well, and you can see here, you talked about pitching in these tough situations. This sequence so far to Matt Joyce, he went off speed with the changeup, then the slider, and then how about that? Paint mid-90s fastball right on the inside corner. If you're Matt Joyce, you're saying, well, what's next? Already struck me out twice. I've seen a changeup, a slider, a heater in. Mixing them well.
1-2 coming. In the dirt. Johnson flirted with a couple of no-hitters last year.
Well, didn't he have that streak where he wasn't even giving up a hit until about the 4th inning of every game? I mean, just slicing right through teams right out of the gate.
He was, and that fueled the Marlins' start in April and early May. Elliott Johnson at third. Sean Rodriguez is out at second. Matt Joyce waiting on a 2-2 pitch, and he got him. Gorgeous changeup.
I'll tell you what, that was a big-time sequence, that at-bat with Matt Joyce, all the way through. And then coming back with the changeup, you see it bottom out, the good arm action. Matt Joyce clearly fooled out in front. You see that? Boy, that was big-time pitching right there.
And if this is indeed a reality check, so far Josh Johnson has the 2 outs. The Rays still have second and third. Now he faces Evan Longoria. His yet to retire Longoria has walked and singled. Josh looking like a curveball. And Buck smothers it.
Pitch that Johnson started going to last year in those 9 starts. Primarily a fastball slider changeup guy previously, but now you add in the other weapon, the curveball.
He unveiled that against, I want to say the Phillies, but it was a National League East team. And they were stunned to see it because they'd seen Johnson so much and seen those 3 pitches that when he threw a curveball up there, everybody in the dugout just went, what?
Yeah, like this guy needs another weapon. Thanks. It was hard enough with just the 3.
It's 2-0 now on Longoria.
And you can be careful right here. You have first base open and 2 outs. You'd like to go right on right here, but you don't want to get reckless. The 2-0 fastball catching a lot of plate.
Well, there was the 2-0 fastball, and it's catching a lot of air right now. Peterson is out there in right field. Reality check. Josh Johnson passes with flying colors. Pitches out of a 2nd and 3rd and nobody out situation. And 5 scoreless innings for JJ. Miami, a 4-0 lead. Well, a good day's work for Josh Johnson. A 4-0 shutout. He drove in a run with an RBI double, and he pitches out of a 2nd and 3rd and nobody out situation in the 5th. So if the day is done for Josh Johnson, it's a good one. The Clevelander is opening this spring at Marlins Park. Now, I know you've been on South Beach. You've been by the Clevelander Hotel. It's a schwanky place, a great place to go.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. A lively scene by the pool, club area, and all that. Well, that's what's going to be going on out in left field. You can experience a game from field-level seats. You got a pool and a poolside bar and grill next to the Marlins bullpen. A great menu of food selections and drink selections. The Clevelander will also be home to the excitement for the original South Beach location. So it's going to be like a South Beach party out in left field, essentially. For tickets and information, go to marlins.com. And, of course, as we've noted earlier in the telecast, as you're getting ready to come down to Marlins Park, if you don't have a spot in one of the 4 garages, go to marlins.com/parking, and you can find a interactive website specifically for parking at Marlins games at Marlins Park. Find out where you can park, whether it's University of Miami Hospital, catch a shuttle over. If you're coming Tri-Rail, how to get from there, how to come from downtown. They'll run the trolleys. Rowan pulls that one down the line foul. And so when you and Dwayne and TK come to town, Tommy and I will take you out to the Clevelander.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
The one in left field or the original?
Oh, we're going left field.
We're going left field.
Which is going to be an awful lot like the original, we're told. Rowan lines one into center field. That's a base hit, and that's a good sign for Aaron Rowan, who had been 0 for 2. You root for a guy like Rowan because of the intangibles that he brings. Every place he's been, everyone has said he's outstanding in the clubhouse, a leader, a guy that has been there and done that.
And plays the game the right way. Plays hard. He's going to step between the white lines. You're going to get maximum effort. Here I was hoping, JP Howell, I remember facing Aaron Rowan many times, having played in the American League in the Central when he was with Chicago, and didn't get him out too many times. So I was hoping JP could help me there as a lefty, and still haven't figured out a way because he goes right back up the middle on JP.
Well, Howell now gets a lefty and Brian Peterson. Peterson took Wade Davis out with a 2-run homer in the 4th. John Buck homered in that 4th inning as well, and the Josh Johnson RBI double was back in the 2nd. That's how the Marlins have built a 4-0 lead in the 6th in Port Charlotte. Spring training telecast. Everyone in our broadcast crew. Rays producer Kevin Patterson. Marlins director Jim Hawley. They'll be running sprints out on the warning track here in the 8th inning. We've already had a few of our crack staff reporting from around the globe with this game here in Florida, and of course MLB Network picking up today's game. So our West Coast crack staffers have checked in.
Are we going full 9, or will we be relieved at some point?
7th inning, I think we get to go in, do a round in the weight room, and we're done.
That's it.
Yep.
Let's finish strong.
Back to the hotel by the 9th inning.
Nick Green.
Nick Green is going to come up, and he's going to hit for Josh Johnson. Green, a guy that has seen some major league time, a versatile infielder. And then he takes outside. To the Marlins media guide I don't have yet, but I've got him on the iPad. The problem is scrolling is still a challenge. JP Howell, first out of the bullpen. Wade Davis went 4 2/3 innings. Howell to Nick Green. And he missed. Howell asking home plate umpire Quinn Walcott exactly where it missed.
And I don't blame him. This pitch looked pretty good. I had to say it was down. Definitely caught the plate.
And so now you got Reyes with runners at first and second. Green at first and Rowan at second. Reyes in the ball game has singled. He's the guy that hit the line drive off of Wade Davis, figuratively and literally. Davis stayed in the ball game. Reyes was then picked off of first base. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch guys like Jose Reyes and Emilio Bonifacio in the new Marlins Park, which is a big park. Pickoff play at second. The outfield is big. The gaps are going to be big. And so if you can run and put the ball in play like those two, Reyes, who led the National League with 16 triples last year, he may have 16 triples at the All-Star break. Howell catches a corner. And it's 0-1.
Oh, you start talking about the dimensions, getting out there 391 in the gap, and a big outfield like that. It's all about applying pressure, and that's exactly what's going to happen here at the top of the lineup. Reyes and Bonifacio, that pressure of the speed.
Reyes reaches out and comes around a changeup, lifts it into left field. Joyce over to the line, makes the catch.
You know, that's not only to the defense, but also to the pitcher, because the pitcher knows what's lurking behind that. The healthy middle of the Marlins order can do a lot of damage, so definitely going to have a team's attention right from Jump Street.
Look, it's the Hopper. Marlin fans love the Hopper. Burke Badenhop, not only a very effective middle reliever, but a terrific and funny guy. And with the Rays, I think you're going to like watching the Hopper pitch. A lot of sinkers, works quickly. One of the sharpest tools in the shed.
This is a true crossover game, too. And you're right, his pitching style sets up perfectly with what the Rays are trying to accomplish here. Coming out of the bullpen, a lot of sinkers. He gave up just 1 home run last year in over 60 innings of work. And if you can keep the ball on the ground with the Rays defense, recipe for success.
Bonifacio takes a strike. Howell now himself trying to work out of this spot. Bonifacio tripled in the first against Wade Davis and then bounced out twice. Be interesting to see if Bonifacio can duplicate what he did last year with a 360 on base percentage, hit 296. He blew away his previous numbers in the big leagues, and that on base percentage is obviously the most important number, because with his speed, if he's able to get on it at a 360 clip, then he can steal you 50 bases. He stole 40, and as I pointed out, he had just 5 at the end of June.
Yeah, and you know, you go back to that story, a couple of things in play there. First of all, you think about Jack McKeon being able to come into the situation and recognize, hey, I got a guy here that I can run. I can run some teams right off the field. That's number one. But number two, look at what a little bit of confidence can do for a ball player. Where your manager says, I believe in you, you can do this, you do it when I tell you to. If it doesn't work out, I'll take the blame, but you go and do it. And that confidence shot, what he did.
He looked at a breaking ball and gets rung up by Quinn Walcott. JP Howell pitches out a tough spot, 4-0 Miami. Great day to be at the ballpark. And the Marlins have a 4-0 lead over the Rays. All right, Brian, give me your thoughts on Josh Johnson's day so far.
Well, Josh Johnson, we saw the impressive stuff. We saw some self-inflicted wounds. I mean, any trouble that he got into was basically his own doing with the 5 walks, but we also saw the toughness and to be able to pitch out of some jams, get the big double play ground ball off the bat of Jose Molina with the bases loaded, and then come back, get some big strikeouts, some great sequencing, I think, that we saw from Josh towards the end of his outing. He should be very happy with the way he finished things off.
27-year-old Venezuelan Edward Mujica, who was a nice addition to the Marlins bullpen last year. Led the Marlins relievers and was 3rd on the team in wins. Of course, he had a nice run in San Diego. And last year with the Marlins, an ERA of under 3, a strike thrower. And he's a guy that should enjoy the expanse of Marlins Park as well.
Yeah, going to be a nice setup, man, for Heath Bell. You saw the innings, the 76 innings and the 67 games, only 14 walks.
Yeah, traditionally he has some numbers that, in terms of walks, you go back and look at his seasons and you think it's a misprint. 14 walks in the 67 games last year. 6 walks in 2010.
When you're looking at a guy to be coming in late in the ball game, you're back end of the bullpen guys. You've got to have guys that have good stuff, swing and miss type of stuff for the most part, and throw strikes. You can't have a guy come in the 8th inning where he's looking to, get it to the closer, up by 2, and come in and giving guys free passes. It fits the bill.
The Carlos Pena shift is on right now with Jose Reyes occupying the first base side. Liner to right, and that is over the head of Peterson, off the wall. Peterson has a strong arm, and Pena digging for second. He's going to get there with a loud double. So a good day for Carlos Pena, who's walked twice and doubled. That's a Carlos Pena kind of day.
Well, this ball right out over the plate, a little bit too much topspin. Get some backspin on that ball, and it's way out of here, up and off the office building behind right field. But that ball, a little top spin, and shot right over Peterson's head.
As a veteran of many spring trainings yourself as a pitcher, we talked about both Wade Davis and Josh Johnson getting in reality type situations, type of adrenaline, type of spots they're going to be in the regular season. For a middle reliever, a guy like Mujica, or even a closer, be it a Heath Bell or a Kyle Farnsworth, how do you duplicate that as a reliever coming in?
Well, these guys, first of all, they're coming in not wanting to duplicate that. They're trying to come in and go, 3 up and 3 down, and get in a good rhythm, mix up their pitches. Other than that, if you find yourself in this situation, here you go. Here's your opportunity.
Reyes makes a play, goes and gets himself a good hop. Keppinger is out 6-3. Pena moves to third.
You got to figure as a starting pitcher, you're going to get stretched out. So you're going to be pitching 4, 5, 6 innings. Well, you're not going to go 6 clean innings every time you go out there. As you build up, you're going to be faced with base runners, different situations. A little bit more difficult for a reliever because they come in. Typically, they're going to go 1 inning. Maybe they pitch in back-to-back days. So you don't get into those situations as often if you're a high-end reliever. But when you do, it kicks right in, just like that. Lead off double. Now try to pitch your way out of it. But outside of stumbling into these situations, there's no way for them to duplicate that. Because like I said, you can go on a backfield and say, okay, runner on second, nobody out, or first and second, 1 out. It's not the same. The adrenaline's not the same. No people in the stands.
Luke Scott pulls one fair, and that's going to score a run. The Rays are on the board. Scott drives in Pena. As Brian pointed out early in the telecast, both the Rays and the Marlins have had trouble scoring runs this spring. And in defense of both teams, when you don't have your full complement of outfielders, Marlins minus Giancarlo Stanton and Logan Morrison, the Rays with B.J. Upton, Desmond Jennings nicked up. Here's Molina, and the lines went into center field. So a 1-for-3 day for Jose Molina. Mujica's given up a couple of hits. Both of those hits on first pitches of the AB. And I think sometimes for a guy like Mujica, we talked about 6 walks in a season, 14 walks in a season. Some pitching coaches will tell you you can throw too many strikes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, as we talked about Josh Johnson trying to become a little bit more efficient with his pitches, it's quality strikes. It's not just about strikes. And you're right. You can be around the plate or over the plate too often. It comes back to hurt you because, at this level, Jose
Molina is going to leave for a pinch runner.
His day is finished.
First base number 19, Roby Estrada.
Roby Estrada is in the ball game and pinch running at first base. And a strike to Elliott Johnson.
As we were saying, the scouting reports at the major league level are so, in depth, and there's no secrets anymore. And so if you're a guy who's a strike thrower, great, but if a lot of those strikes are catching a lot of the white of the plate, it doesn't take too long for that to get out and about. And teams will say, look, if this guy's going to be around the plate, we're going to go up and be aggressive from the first pitch of the at-bat and try to ambush him. That's why you need to work to the extremes, work to the corners, make them quality strikes. You can get nicked up.
Mujica out in front now, 1-2.
I think that's one of the things that Jeremy Hellickson is working on here in the Rays rotation is the quality of his fastball and being able to throw that pitch where he wants it, not catch so much plate, because that's something that's hurt him.
Mujica with a good live fastball there, and it's 1-2. Mujica certainly going to be part of what is shaping up to be a nice bullpen for the Marlins. The lefties, Randy Choate, who's back and healthy now, Mike Dunn. You got Ryan Webb, Steve Cishek, and of course the new closer, Heath Bell. Look out.
First base coach George Hendrick, still quick.
A little help from Gabby Sanchez. George was hugging the line.
That ball almost hugged him.
George Hendrick, a fashion pioneer in baseball. That one down the left field line, and it's twisting foul. Hendrick was one of the first major league players to wear his pants all the way down to his socks. And that has become the norm in baseball.
One of my favorite coaches to spend time with, George Hendrick. Sit and talk baseball with him, his story about coming into baseball, Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's. Fascinating.
High pop-up, and that's going to land where the B Street Band was playing before the ball game. The B Street Band, friends of Joe Madden's, a Bruce Springsteen cover band, had about an hour and a half set before the ball game.
Well, he was upset that he didn't get to see the true boss up in Tampa. They had a night game. He was not able to make that. So he said, hey, let's bring the...
He told me before the game, it's the next best thing to the E Street Band is the B Street Band.
It's close. They sounded good.
They did sound good. Counts 1-2. There's 2 outs. Runner goes, and Elliot Johnson gets hit, clipped by a breaking ball, and he's on his way to first. So not a real clean inning so far for Edward Mujica as he tries to work out the kinks. There's Sean Rodriguez.
A breaking ball down and in, holds up on the swing and catches it right off the left ankle, almost right around the heel.
And so Rodriguez in the 9 spot, who has a hit and run single and a fly ball out. That run that Mujica gave up, his first run of the spring. This is his 5th appearance. Each of his appearances have been of the 1-inning variety. Buck with a snap throw. Boy, it's right there, and he got him. Johnson is picked up. John Buck channeling his inner Molina. Picking off Elliot Johnson. The Rays are on the board, but Miami still leads at 4-1.
This
It is 4-1 Miami Marlins leading the Rays as we head to the 7th inning, joined now by Rays reliever JP Howell. JP, got out of a couple of jams there today. Felt pretty good?
Yeah, good. Just I guess that's battle tested right there. So I'm glad to get that one, as a positive ending.
What's the big difference for you this spring as compared to last year?
I had a little break before the season started this year, so that's all I needed last year was just some time away because going through a surgery and rehab and then straight into a season, it's pretty difficult to do.
Is there any pitch in particular you feel is much better this year?
To be honest, every one of them. All of them last year were just flipping the coin on where they were going to go and how they were going to move, and I was really just trying to get my arm to stay healthy, and that's a tough battle to have all for 4 or 5 months long, and I'm just glad I made through that. It's in the past now, move forward and chase the ring this year.
Picked up some big strikeouts in the outing today. Got out of the inherited jam and then out of your own. When you threw that the walk earlier in the inning, I thought I saw you point to your shoulder. Is that a reminder for yourself in your delivery when you touch your front shoulder?
Yep. Whenever I get a little too geeked up out there, I start to pull down with everything, and that's not the way to do it. So I just got to stay calm, and things go a lot smoother when you can do that.
When you say you get too geeked up, does that mean you're flying open?
That means I'm trying to fly and let it eat too much, man. I need to calm down a little bit and get back in my saddle and just relax.
How do you like the new hairdo?
I love it. Wake up and go. I'm used to that long shag I had, so I'm glad that's over too, man. It's just it's a good place to be right now at Tampa Bay Ray.
Good to see the old JP back. Thanks.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Right. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Todd. A little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, as Hanley Ramirez lines a double to right field. And Donovan Solano is pinch running at second base. And Burke Badenhop is at the plate, and he just saws off Gabby Sanchez. Jose Lobaton is behind the plate now, and he makes the catch. And a look for Marlin fans and for Rays fans at the hopper, Burke Badenhop, the pride of Bowling Green University. He of the master of the comebacker with that nasty sinker that he has. He's a guy that can come in and get ground balls for you. He was a mop-up guy. He had to absorb a few big innings last year. And if you need a pinch hit in the extra innings in New York, Badenhop can get you that. Badenhop, a game-winning hit off the bench when the Marlins had some injuries against the Mets last year. And one of the most entertaining guys you'll meet in a baseball uniform. He's a burgeoning screenwriter. Frank Ford, I know last year and the years past, we've had a variety of game shows on Marlins Live. Stump the Hopper.
Stump the Hopper, exactly. One of the things he's really good at is, font of useless information, as it were. You can name a minor league team, let's say Billings Rookie League, and he'll tell you what affiliation that is. Or you can say, what's the Reds AA team, and he'll tell you Chattanooga Lookouts, or rather Carolina Mudcats. He knows all that stuff. Hanley's standing next to me, by the way. How you doing, big guy?
Good. Feeling good.
You're having a great spring. You look like the Hanley of 2010 and before, as opposed to the Hanley of last year. How much of that is you're feeling good and the shoulder's good?
I mean, the offseason been good. A lot of work, and I think I'm feeling stronger. That's the main point.
You said, I had said to Jose Reyes before the game, and you called him your coffee. He comes to work with a smile on his face every day, and it gets you going, doesn't it?
Right away. Today I saw him working the whole way. As soon as I see him, and it's a big smile on his face, so he made me smile.
How important is it to you to have a good spring at the plate and have good swings? Is it important to you personally, or can you get going even if it wasn't a good spring?
No, I was, trying to come back. The swing was supposed to on the field after that surgery on the left shoulder and see how the shoulder is going to respond. But it's feeling good, and it's stronger.
We've seen you smile a lot this spring. That means you're feeling good and you're playing good. Is that important for you, just to enjoy playing the game the way you can play it?
When you feel good, man, everything's going to be fine. It's not easy when you know that you hurt and you still go down there and compete, but you can give 100%. You're going to try, but sometimes your body's not going to respond the way it's supposed to be.
Hanley, thanks for the time. We'll see you back in Jupiter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hanley Ramirez. And guys, he seems to be adapting to third base very well, and you saw the way he swung the bat today, a couple of line drives, and good to see him go to right field with that double. He's very effective, Rich, as you know, when he can hit it to the gap in right center.
And Frank, he stumped the hopper.
He did.
With a double.
With a double, exactly. Yeah, it's tough to stump the Hopper, I'll tell you that. The other thing I was going to say is you can show him a minor league hat with some obscure logo, and he'll tell you the team. I mean, that's how deep Hopper goes into the minor league stuff. He's also good with state capitals and capitals of countries.
High pop-up. Sean Rodriguez looking up into the Port Charlotte sun. And he makes the catch. So Infante pops out. Aaron Rowan coming to the plate. The Marlins in this ballgame have 4 runs and 9 hits. A run on 5 hits for the Rays. All 4 of the runs against starter Wade Davis. A couple of home runs, John Buck and Brian Peterson. Rowan, of course, one of the most unique batting stances in baseball. And a slider from the Hopper misses away. It's funny, if you watch Rowan through the course of the pitch, he starts out looking like he is sitting on a bar stool, but once the pitch is on its way, he locks and loads like every other hitter, every other good hitter. And he smacks one into left field, his second hit of the day. Solano around third, and he will score. Well, a nice day for Aaron Rowan, a 2-for-4 day. This is an RBI single. And up comes Peterson. And the Marlins are greeting Burke Badenhop quite rudely here.
Well, he got loaded, took a pitch out over the plate. Good hard swing. Able to pull the hands in just enough to get the barrel of that baseball and get it by a diving Rodriguez out at short.
And you can see right away that Badenhop's sinker is not on right now. Anytime he lives above the belt, as he has, he's going to get knocked around.
And you've noticed this inning, a lot of sliders from Badenhop. You know, a sinker is a pitch that you talk to most sinker ballers, it's more effective the more they throw it. The more they use it, let it run, let it do its thing. But a lot of sliders we've seen from Badenhop this inning, and all of a sudden goes back to that sinker, not quite there, and he gets hurt.
That went all the way to the screen. Is a sinker harder to find in spring training for a guy like Badenhop?
I would think so. Absolutely a big sinker ball, because it's a field pitch. I mean, you're out there and you're trying to get that good run. You know, you obviously, you have your grip, and it is a fastball. But that's one of those pitches that the more that you throw it, repetition. You know, baseball being a skill sport, it's all about repetition. That's why hitters hit every day. They hit off tees, they hit in the cage. And the sinker baller wants to be out there throwing, getting used to that pitch, feeling it coming off his fingers, getting that good movement. And that does take some time.
Badenhop making his 6th appearance, an ERA coming in at 2.70 in the spring.
And you're also to the point in camp where things should probably be there. Things should start to click. This is when you want to finish strong, go into the season with a good vibe, with good results.
Brian Peterson had good results in the 4th, a 2-run homer, but he takes a called strike 3. Badenhop gives up a run, and the Marlins stretch their lead. Miami 5-1 over Tampa Bay.
5 shutout innings. Wade Davis reached his pitch count in the 5th, 4 2/3 of work. That is our game summary between the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays. 5-1 game. As we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning, Elliot Johnson joins us. You reached base a couple of times today. The last time a little more painful than the first. You got hit. How'd you get hit in the back foot?
Through the old back foot slider and executed perfectly, I suppose. And actually, it even hit me on the back heel, so it usually doesn't happen like that. Usually you get it on the toes, but it hit me on the heel. But with 2 strikes, I'll take my base.
The only problem with taking your base is you knew you had to come face-to-face with George Hendrick after you almost decapitated.
Yeah, well, we got a replacement. Coach Kersey's out first right now.
You took him out of the game?
I guess that's what happened. But, he keeps saying that there's a bounty out on his head. I was trying to cash it in.
There is the new first base coach for the Rays, Scott Kersey, and not often do you take a player takes a first base coach out, but is that as close as anybody's come? That what's the bounty?
I'm not sure of the figure, but I know that you'll be rewarded handsomely. I'm pretty sure Foley's the one that's going to be paying up, but he's had a couple of close calls. Sam almost got him the other day too, and Zorilla almost got him a couple of days before that. So he's getting a little more timid over there, but he can still move.
He did move very well on that play. Your versatility again today, showing with a chance to play center field. They picked a fine day for you to be out there. How was that wind? It seemed like it was swirling pretty good early.
It's been blowing in almost every day. So today is one of the first days where it's really been going out the other way. I think we've had 1 or 2 days where it has been. So it's a little bit different. Even their pitcher Josh Johnson hit one off the wall. So the ball was still hit well, but it was really howling. But nothing too much different than what you can expect at spring training here in Florida.
When you first started for that ball in the gap, did you think you had it?
Yeah, I thought I was going to get to it, and it really took off. I put my head down to go get it, and when I looked up, I realized I wasn't going to be able to get there. But, it's spring training here in Florida. The wind's going to be blowing sometimes, and sometimes it's not.
Final thought, Elliot, as Jose Lobaton bats here with 1 out. Now with the injuries in the outfield, has Joe told you to maybe get some reps in the outfield more, or where do things stand right now? Do you think you might see some more time in the outfield as the spring rolls on?
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm here for. It's my job to be out there and be ready to go if he gives me the opportunity to, and I can get at bats that way. Of course I'm open to it, but that's part of the job description that he's given me. So, I keep the outfield glove in the bag. I keep the first baseman's mitt in the bag, and, wherever he's going to throw me, I'm ready to go.
Thanks, Elliot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, guys.
Ball up the middle. Omar Infante scoops it, but can't seal the deal. And Jose Lobaton is aboard on what will probably be an error on the usually sure-handed Omar Infante, with Bo Jones, the lefty, in for the Marlins. Jones has had a nice spring. This is his 4th appearance, and he has not given up a run. It's a guy that's been in the Braves organization, the Rangers organization. Marlins signed him as a minor league free agent. He's had some solid years in AA and AAA as a lefty reliever, kind of a middleman, long reliever. Chris Jimenez at the plate for the Rays as the replacement Rays now get their first at-bats of the ball game. The Marlins have substituted in a couple of areas. Donovan Solano is now at third. He has had a great camp. And Chris Coughlin is out in left field. There's a look at Coughlin. Jones bounces one up the plate. Jimenez, one of the guys we talked about early in the telecast, trying to win a job as a backup catcher. Smacks that one out to center field. Bonifacio. A nice route, and he's there to make the catch. All right, Brian Anderson, you're back on the clock.
I'm back on the clock. You can subscribe to MLB.TV Premium today and get over 150 select spring training games with no blackouts and every regular season game live or on demand on your favorite devices. Visit RaysBaseball.com for details.
See, now I've got this game dialed up on my iPad right now.
Oh, that's a professional move.
It is.
And I have some index cards over here with a highlighter. I think I need an update.
Jeff Salazar, who is a left fielder now at the plate. I'm telling you, and we've talked about this before the ball game, before the telecast, during the breaks. I see an iPad in your future.
Oh, yes.
With the, you've got to get the MLB at Bat app, and you can cruise around and watch any game in high definition on your iPad. You can impress Dwayne with your ability to go through scores and box scores in real time. Hello.
It's not easy to impress Dwayne.
True. Unflappable.
I think maybe the iPad, unflappable is right. I have a chance with that, but I definitely need a welcome to 2012 moment soon.
Well, any device that you get up there, make sure you get the MLB at Bat app. Bo Jones working against Jeff Salazar here. Miami on top 5-1, bottom 7. 5 shutout innings by Josh Johnson, who was pushed in this ball game and responded, working himself out of a couple of jams and looked good. Marlins getting home runs in this one from John Buck and Brian Peterson. Wade Davis had his moments in which he looked sharp, and then he had moments, especially that 4th inning where he gave up the 2 home runs, where he got knocked around. The Rays finally got on the board in the 6th with a Carlos Pena double. He moved up on a Keppinger ground ball, and Luke Scott knocked him in with a ground ball. Jones is the 3rd to work for the Marlins, taking over for Edward Mujica. Jones, a native of Louisiana. That one up and in. And Salazar with the count out 3-2.
Bo Jones trying to change up the sequence a little there and sneak one in on Salazar. Ran that ball too far up and in. Good time here to go back to that slider.
Robiton will be on the move at first. And there was the breaking ball, but it's outside. Will Rhymes will come to the plate for the Rays now. Bo Jones, a walk. The error, of course, on Infante. And Rhymes gets his first at bat. This is in Pena's spot in the order. As the Marlins look at the National League East, with the Nationals improved, the Braves standing pat, and the Phillies, of course, with that terrific rotation. The Rays in the American League East obviously have to battle with the Yankees and the Red Sox, and the Toronto Blue Jays seem to be a team on the rise. And while many feel that the extra wild card will benefit both the National League and American League East, one of the problems with that is that you have to play everybody in the division so many times that if you're in a weaker division, your schedule isn't as tough. And of course, injuries will affect just about everybody over the course of a season.
We highlighted the Marlins and their tough schedule right out of the gate at the beginning of the season, and not taking it easy on the Florida teams. New York, Detroit, and Boston, 3 elite American League teams there. You find out in a hurry exactly where you stand.
Cardinals, Reds, Phillies for the Marlins. Good breaking ball by Jones. And it's 2-2.
Well, this is the one he was looking for to Salazar. Keep that ball in the zone for a long time, get the hitter to commit, and watch it sweep out.
2 outs with the count, 2-2. 5-1 Miami. A lot of the regulars, almost all the regulars, gone for the Rays. The Marlins still have some A-listers out there. Solano to his left, and a quick throw over to first. Bo Jones works a scoreless 7th, onward, upward to the 8th. It's 5-1. And breezy in Port Charlotte. Miami has a 5-1 lead over Tampa Bay. The all-new Marlins Park features air-conditioned comfort, great food options, and premium group entertainment. Whether you're looking for a first-class hospitality night for your clients or hoping to catch a ball game in the home run porch, Miami Marlins baseball. What a terrific new venue in downtown Miami, Marlins Park. There's a variety of group packages, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. And once again, for those of you who have yet to make your way down to Marlins Park, who are thinking about routes and parking, marlins.com/parking. Website, a web page designed specifically for Marlin fans who are coming to Marlins Park. Romulo Sanchez, a rather large Venezuelan, 27 years old. Big guy. 6'5", 270.
I'm going to say that he's going to bring the heat. Just going on a limb here.
Chris Coughlin up, his first at bat. Coughlin in the 9 spot. You see last year, Coughlin's season cut short. He struggled early. And then as the Marlins were preparing to send him down, the health issues, the knee, both knee and shoulder for Coughlin last year. And Chris lofts that one over the head of Rhymes at second and into right field. And so Coughlin has a base hit. Chris is battling for one of those outfield spots. And of course, a rookie of the year. And the guy that had a terrific start to his Marlins career, trying to recapture that magic.
Well, he did a nice job here of staying back on an off-speed offering. See him keep those hands back and just get enough of it to get it out into right field. Nice piece of hitting.
Now Reyes, 5 at-bats for Reyes. The Marlins are headed to Lakeland to take on the Tigers tomorrow. And as we told you from the outset, Ozie Gan has brought most of his starting lineup, save some of the outfielders. Giancarlo Stanton, and Logan Morrison, both appearing in a minor league game today, getting their at-bats. Reyes lifts it down the line. The wind is pushing it, and Salazar makes a sliding catch. That's nicely done. Coughlin has to scamper back to first.
Well, and that's right where the foul line out there in left field gets very close to the wall, and a nice job of tracking this ball. Good hustle, keeps an eye right on it. Nice sliding catch. Even better hair.
He did apparently not participate in the team function. So I think if you're a youngster trying to make an impression on Joe Madden, you go all in. Bonifacio fouls you back.
See, there comes a negotiation also, because you're thinking to yourself, listen, I'm going to go out there and do this. I've worked on this hair for years, apparently. And if I lose it all, what if I don't make the team? So you guarantee me a spot on the team, and I'll go bald for you. If not, I'm keeping the curls. Could work against him.
Your commentary is tinged with a bit of envy there.
Oh, let's not even get started. You're right. Those were the days. Now it's a clean shave against the grain.
That's almost a Kenny Powers mullet out there in left field.
Maybe what he's going after.
Bonifacio swings and misses. Bonifacio is up there for the 5th time. Morrison and Stanton DHing today, along with Greg Dobbs. The Marlins, depending on Dobbs' bat off the bench, he was so good in that role last year. They're all getting at bats back in Jupiter. Bonifacio 1 for 4 day with a triple. Chops that one out towards second. A tough hop. It bounces up and over, and safe is Bonifacio.
Boy, enough said about the speed. It doesn't take much.
Rhymes had it pop out of his glove. You can see him shaking his head.
Right here, this is the second base. Okay.
They hit him in the back of the head, and he turns around, and Bonifacio is by the bag, and Bonifacio is going to come out for a pinch runner now. Would you go hit or an error on that? I would have to go E4. And the scorer took a while, but it is an E4. That brings up Donovan Solano, who has come out of nowhere to impress everybody in the Marlins organization with just a sterling spring. A very good defender, versatile guy, can play 3 infield positions. And he's been hitting over 400 all spring. The dilemma for the Marlins is that they have Donnie Murphy slated for that utility infielder role, and Murphy has a guaranteed contract. Solano not on the 40-man. But he certainly has impressed both the front office and the field staff. Joey Cora and Ozie Gan raving about the spring that Solano has had.
Well, sometimes that's all you can do. You're going to get caught up into a numbers game, so your job is to go out, play hard, make an impression. If there is ever, was an opening via injury, anything like that, you've got an opportunity, but make sure they remember you if you indeed end up down in the minor leagues, and he's definitely done that. He'll be on the short list if he doesn't make the team here out of spring training.
That's a great point, because with the major league staff, if something happens, the first thing they think about is what they saw in the spring. Certainly they see the reports and what guys are doing over the course of a minor league season, but when something happens and a manager needs somebody, if he has seen 5 or 6 weeks of great play and there was not a spot for a player, that's usually the first guy they call.
Yeah, as a reward, especially if you go down to the minor leagues and continue on.
Solano couldn't hold up on that breaking ball for Romulo Sanchez. He gets a strikeout, and Brian Anderson is back on the clock.
Fans, be sure to pick up your very own Fortune Favors the Ball t-shirt while supplies last. Proceeds benefiting Moffitt Cancer Center, All Children's Hospital, and the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. Available for a limited time only. Please visit RaysBaseball.com/community for more information and locations. It's a fresh shave.
There you go.
Fresh shave.
Nice look. Now, TK, you did not participate in the head shaving.
I did not. I missed that game last Thursday.
Come on, it's for a good cause.
Hey, I've got something for BA, though.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Look at that, BA.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I mean, the guys did it 71 total, including front office executives. 71 total. Got their head shaved for a great cause. That was last Thursday. Somehow I missed that game, but BA is supporting the cause. We got a shirt for you here, brother.
Well, that's, you know what? Lose the sleeves.
Just cut them off right now.
Show off those guns.
We'll get a Porterfield scissor here and rip those sleeves off for you.
Gabby Sanchez is at the plate. He's getting his 5th plate appearance. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. Romulo Sanchez appearing in the big leagues in 2010 with the Yankees. He's had cups of coffee with the Pittsburgh Pirates as well. Just 27. Runners first and second, 2 outs in the 8th. And Sanchez going after the breaking ball.
And that was a very good breaking ball. See this downhill plane, the good, hard, late break, and the reach on the swing.
Fastball, he throws it by Gabby Sanchez. Marlins leave a couple. Miami leads Tampa Bay 5-1. Sign that the regulars are headed to the clubhouse. Jose Reyes, Emilio Bonifacio, and Hanley Ramirez, after a nice day's work, headed for a shower. 5-1, Miami on top, bottom of the 8th here in Port Charlotte. Fox Saturday Baseball returns on April 7th. Some of the sport's biggest names with new teams: Albert Pujols and the Angels, Prince Fielder and the Tigers, and the defending world champion St. Louis Cardinals. All headline the debut of Fox Saturday Baseball, April 7th. At 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. The Giants and Diamondbacks as well. Rob Delaney,
attention fans, now pitching for Miami, number 66.
the guy that was with the Rays organization last year.
See those numbers here to just the 4 games, 5 innings of work.
If you're just joining us and you're wondering how the starters did, Josh Johnson went 5 scoreless. Wade Davis went 4 2/3. The Marlins got 4 of their 5 runs against Davis, hitting 2 homers. Ozie Gan looking comfortable next to the bat phone. Jesus Feliciano for the Rays. We have not seen, and it's a bit of a disappointment, the traditional spring training guys running in the outfield.
Starting to move away from that.
Teams now with the larger minor league complex have acres and acres of fields.
There's plenty of places for you to go run. Backfields.
Of course, that's away from the watchful eye of the coaching staff.
They'll figure it out sooner or later. You start cutting corners.
Ground ball. Infante, that's gorgeous. And guy that was a finalist for the Gold Glove last year, and the reputation starting to get around the National League. Infante, a terrific play going to his left, made it look easy.
Yeah, ranging out into the outfield, flash the leather, then the spin and the throw right on the money. That's impressive.
So Delaney now with an out here in the 8th.
You start to think about that Marlins infield defense. If you talk about Infante and what he can do there at second base. Jose Reyes at short. If Hanley Ramirez can make that transition over to third, and he's got the body size. You go down on the field and realize how big Hanley Ramirez is. Got the perfect body for third base. If he can make that transition, pitchers are going to love the range and glove work of that infield.
It's one of the things Ozie Gan has said about the move is that, and he told Hanley this in the winter, you're going to move to third base eventually because of your body size, and so now's a good time to do it. And the other part of that infield is Gabby Sanchez, who has come miles as a defender since arriving in the big league, so much so that he was one of the finalists for a Gold Glove last year. Of course, the Marlins have added a Gold Glover in their rotation. Mark Burley. Marlins took a step forward last year, improved themselves defensively. They'd love to get to the level where the Rays have been living. The Rays have been one of the best defensive teams in baseball. They were so last year. Just about every metric, whether it's fielding percentage, zone rating, ultimate zone rating.
Oh, that's what is so impressive. They not only are they tremendous at catching the baseball, but the balls they get to.
Right.
The range. You think about the outfield. You think about Desmond Jennings and what he can run down. B.J. Upton out in center, what he can run down.
Scott sends one out in the left center field. And it's caught out there by Aaron Rowan, who has played all 3 outfield spots in this ball game. So Delaney has a couple of outs. Matt Mangini gets the at-bat for the Rays. Mangini out of North Carolina, Apex, North Carolina. Played 2 seasons at North Carolina State, then went on to Oklahoma State. Signed as a minor league free agent out of the Seattle organization. Got to the big leagues in 2010. You saw his numbers last year. Those were in 58 games, and those were playing for Tacoma, which is one of the best pitchers parks in the minor leagues, in the Pacific Coast League. Tacoma very much like Safeco Field in Seattle. Big, and the ball in that marine air does not travel all that well. Nice inning by Delaney as he goes 1-2-3 through the Rays in the 8th to the 9th. 5-1 Miami. by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on the amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. Let's go down to Todd Callis, who's with Luke Scott. Todd?
Thank you very much, Rich. Luke, we're just talking about getting some at-bats now. And where do you feel you are with the spring? We talked to Evan Longoria before the game. He wants to go 5 or 6 games in a row. Where are you right now as you get ready for these final 10 days of spring?
Well, I mean, I've had, my first start was just getting my feet wet and seeing some live pitching again and trying to make contact. And I had a week there last week where my hands started working for me. And I was getting some success and things were doing all right. But I had a little setback in the fact that my body's starting to take over a little bit again and pulling me off the ball. But trying to get all these bad swings out and here in spring and save my good ones for the season.
So the key for you just staying back, trusting the hands?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of been rewired here in my shoulder, and I gotta, I talk to it all the time. Like, you need to stay in and do what you're told. But it's, the last 4 games it's kind of had a mind of its own, and I'm borderline ready to fight myself. So, hopefully it starts listening here soon.
We've seen you as a DH. At some point, once the season starts, so you get your throws in, can you play the field? Where do you see that working out?
Yeah, the goal right now is to get to where I can be able to throw effectively from the outfield by mid-May. That way, when we start interleague, I can be used out in the outfield. I can be used at first base. Whatever the manager wants me to do, just to have that availability. I think that's the goal we're shooting for interleague.
Your first spring with the Rays, you've seen them from the other side with the Orioles. So what were your perceptions about this team coming in, and how's it been adjusting to this kind of crazy group?
Well, coming in, I knew that they've already established a very solid core group of guys, and they've had a lot of success in the American League East, and they've made it to the playoffs. And it's just a solid team put in place. My goal here is just to come alongside and just be a blessing to the team, help out, whatever they ask me to do it to the best of my ability, provide some left-handed power, and try and get us to where we want to go.
Appreciate the time, Luke. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back to you.
Got a good look going there, too, B.A., with the shades and the mutton chops.
Not easy to pull off at all.
Omar Infante's at the plate, and he is 1 for 3, a single, walked, struck out, and popped out. Romulo Sanchez continuing on for the Rays. Rays have used 4 pitchers. Wade Davis started, JP Howell, Burke Badenhop, and now Sanchez, who has looked sharp. A couple of strikeouts in the 8th. He gets a strikeout here of Infante.
See that breaking ball again, working its way down and away. Picking up the strikeout.
Jake Smolinski, infielder, sporting number 92. When you were a minor leaguer in a spring training, what's the highest number that you had to wear?
The highest number I ever wore was actually my first big league number, and it was 56. I asked for a playbook and where my helmet was, and it was not received very well by the equipment manager.
In a right.
I think it was one of those speeches along the lines of, "Be lucky to be here, snot-nosed punk kid," something along those lines. But yeah, that was it, 56.
Another youngster for the Marlins, Daniel Black. He was part of the Greensboro team that won a championship last year. Black gets an at-bat here in the 9th. It's funny talking to both managers who've managed against each other for a number of years, with Ozie Gan being in Chicago and of course Madden on this terrific run here with the Rays. Neither manager concerned at all about record or even the offensive woes. Neither manager really all that concerned. They've been through spring trainings before. Ozie Gan just happy that his rotation is healthy, Hanley is healthy, everybody seems to be clicking on the infield. Hopeful that Mr. Morrison and Stanton will be ready when the bell rings. Incidentally, in the minor league games that they played in today, Giancarlo Stanton was 2 for 3 with a double. Logan Morrison was 0 for 2 with a walk. And Greg Dobbs was 2 for 2 with a home run.
Productive day.
And of course, you heard Joe Madden talk about he has really liked this camp, the way that the ball club has worked. It's fascinating. I was watching a piece on the Diamondback spring, and Kirk Gibson, their manager, who had such a great year last year, talked about how little he looks at the spring training games in terms of wins and losses and results, because he said he works his team so hard in the mornings that he said, I'm more concerned in the mornings about fundamentals. Are we have our bunt plays in? Are we covering the right bases? Are we working hard at all of those things? Because he said once the blood starts flowing and the season starts, everything kind of falls into place.
Yeah, those are the little things that are going to help you win ball games when they count. But I would say that as you get down towards the end of spring, both Ozzie and Joe Madden, there are certain things that they want to see from their guys as they build up towards the season. And I know one thing. I know that the Rays, in the couple of years that they've had a lot of success, they have really preached spring training success. It starts to build now. And I think that's what Joe wants to see going forward. You know, up to this point, a lot of little nagging injuries, haven't had the team together. No question that's played into the record, the lack of offense. But as you build up towards a regular season, we saw both of these teams and how they come out of the gate, the teams are going to have to play. You definitely want to see a ramping up and see some, you know, each manager will have his keys on what do I need to see from my team to feel good going into the regular season, and that time starts right now.
We've seen that with Joe being aggressive today, hitting and running, stealing. The Rays and the Red Sox will be on Sun Sports next Saturday, a 1 o'clock start. The Marlins and the Yankees will tangle a week from today in the new Marlins Park. Marlins play the Yankees twice, and then the Yankees come back across the state to open up the season against the Rays. Both those games, the 1 o'clock game and then the Monday night game, will be on Fox Sports Florida. The Marlins have an off day on Tuesday, and they open their major league schedule. Coughlin smacks it towards short. Open on Wednesday against the Cardinals. Coughlin a 1 for 2 day, coming in as a reserve, and we go to the bottom of the ninth.
Go to the ninth. Marlins still lead the Rays 5-1 here in Port Charlotte. Frank Fort in the Marlins dugout with the veteran Aaron Rowan. 2 base hits today. Now, tell me if I'm wrong about this. You've never been a guy who's had great springs, and it hasn't been a great spring with the bat, but as long as you've been around, that doesn't bother you much, does it?
No, it's more about trying to get your swing and try to get it going as the season approaches. You know, it's great if you go 9 for 10 in your first 10 at-bats in spring training, but when the last week and a half of spring, if it's going a little sideways, now you start panicking going into the year. You know, I spend a lot of the spring just trying to get to where I need to be and get my rhythm and get my timing at the plate, and hopefully as the spring goes, start getting better and better. And you know, I've never had really good spring training, so I don't put a whole lot of stock into that, and you know, it's just about having good at-bats and trying to make solid contact.
And that was the case today. Hopefully for you, there's more of those leading up to these last 10 days to the season.
Yeah, I'd rather all of them get caught in spring training, just hit the ball hard, and then the ones during the season drop. So
your resume speaks for itself, but you come in here as a non-roster player battling for one of the outfield jobs. Do you wake up every day thinking, I'm in a battle, or does that even cross your mind as much as you've been around?
No, you know, I'm more concerned about trying to get ready for the season and trying to get my swing under control and be confident at the plate, and like I said, getting your rhythm and timing, and you know, whatever happens. You just got to come out here and play, and I you know, was excited about the opportunity to come out here and have a chance to play for Ozie again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have a history with Ozie. What can we expect from Ozie, and is he a guy guys like to play for?
Guys love playing for him, and you've seen some of it already this spring. But he's a high-energy guy and expects his players to play the game right and play the game hard. And, you know, he's very fundamentally sound coach, and the players love and respect playing for him.
Thanks for the time, Aaron Rowan. Appreciate it. Best luck the rest of the way.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, Aaron Rowan, of course, as I said, his resume speaks for himself with those 2 World Series rings. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Frank. Rays trying to mount something. Brad Kuhn with a line drive base hit to right to open up this 9th inning against Chad Godin. And Godin's fastball rides up and in on Shad Rodriguez, who, by my scorecard, along with Luke Scott, is the only regular left in the lineup. Spring training scorecards are usually quite messy. Brian Anderson, yours looks neat and tidy, but it looks like you stopped midway through the game.
I started to wave the white flag in the 6th. Again, it goes back to you and the iPad and me with the index cards and the highlighter.
Well, on my iPad, I've got Chad Godin all dialed up. Off the glove of Solano, and it squirts out down the left field line. Rodriguez has got himself a base hit. Holding at second is Kuhn. And here comes Lobaton. Godin, a guy that's been in and out of a lot of different rotations in his career.
Well, here's this pitch. Run it down and in. Sean Rodriguez does a nice job. Drop the head. Hits a bullet right off the glove of Solano. But good hustle here by Solano down the left field line. In foul territory to get that ball back in and prevent any further moving up for the Rays runners.
And so Godin, who was in the rotation long ago for the Rays back in 2004. Then Toronto in 05. 3 seasons with Oakland. And the Cubs, chopper might be 2. Got 1 there. And 2 there. And so Godin rolls a double play. Now there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, and that goes right back to the hustle. You just talked to Aaron Rowan, and he's talking about Ozie Gan playing the game the right way, playing the game hard. Solano could have been upset with himself, jogged down after that ball, allowed Kuhn to move up. Maybe Sean Rodriguez able to take second, but his hustle kept those runners at first and second base. And what does that do? It ends up working out for your pitcher. Godin's able to throw a double play ball. That's why you do it right all the time.
Chris Jimenez now, and he flies it to right field, and this ball game is over. And the Marlins come to Port Charlotte. They beat the Rays. They get 5 shutout innings from Josh Johnson, home runs from John Buck and Brian Peterson, and they'll take a 5-1 win on their way to Lakeland to take on the Tigers and continue the Grapefruit League tour. I think for the Rays, some bright moments, but overshadowed by the Marlins. BA, for you and everybody involved on Rays television, good luck this year.
Yes, you too. Enjoy that brand new stadium.
All right, and I'll see you back again this year, next year, right here at Port Charlotte for our annual Marlins Rays telecasts. Marlins win this one, 5-1 the final. For Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and Frank Fort, I'm Rich Waltz. We'll see you next weekend for both the Rays and the Marlins.